Okay. I didn't mean to go live. You know me at this point. You know me at this point. That's always going to happen. I'm never going to start an episode and be all the way ready when we get here. Okay. You're here, Rachie. Do you want to roll the dice with me? I've read for you the summation of this. I've read for you the last of the Gilgamesh dream. So I'm at chapter 10 right now. If you want to read along, I'm sitting with chapter 10 open on my screen. But we read this. We read a draft of this. Do you want to hear it again, having already heard it? To see with me, I don't know what's changed. I don't know whether anything's changed. I can't promise you that anything has changed. It might be the exact same words. But I did show you that this is a draft that took me a little while as a writer, as a storyteller, to figure out what the fuck was going on, because this sequence was 100% a dream that I experienced. So do you want to read it again? And while you're answering, I'm supposed to be miking myself for these. My Patreon audience have asked me to mic these consistently. Or do you want to skip to Rob waking up? Skip to the end of the Gilgamesh section. Thank you for the likes, guys. The likes don't tell me that you support this. They don't tell me that you like that I'm doing this. This is the wrong mic. Give me just a second to fix that. It's going to sound weird. It's going to go. But I'm correctly mic'd. I can put this one, see with this one, I can like that to myself. Okay. So, if I had a Patreon audience that was more than just Mr. S and Rach, I would let you know the link to what I'm reading and where we're leading. Chapter 10. Hey Hector. Hey Vistrick. This isn't a audience engagement show. I would make the link to what we're reading readily available, but none of you in the audience right now are on the Discord, so none of you would have access to it anyway. So I'm not going to encourage you to go and subscribe to my Patreon, find or buy the Rob Longshore collection, find the passage that we're reading from and read along, because the prose is better than what I'm reading. Chapter 10. The prose is better than my reading. The prose is worth looking at on its own. I do this every time. I want one hit of this cigarette and then we're going to get in it. All right, anyway, your author here is Vincent K. Dennis. AKA Vincent Kyle Dennis, AKA V. Kyle Dennis, AKA VKD. AKA V, the producer. We're in chapter 10 of a Dream of Gilgamesh. Our main character has articulated to the audience that he is dreaming the Epic of Gilgamesh. As a political thriller. Chapter 10. I am standing atop Uruk's mighty walls, looking out at the descending dark of night when I hear my beloved Enkidu's footsteps approaching me.
I turned to him. It's only been a week, but seeing him dressed in the regalia of my best friend Utu, not my deceased betrayer Utu, still does not feel right to me. The priests, he says, stopping a respectful distance away, whisper that the famine is because of Lady Inanna's curse, my king, Lord Gilgamesh. I look at him, searching his two big gray eyes. There's a sorrow there. Does he think this is his fault? Should I have let Utu have the city? Should Enkidu and I have run away to the faraway mountains together and left all this behind? Is that so? I ask, shaking my head and looking back to the coming night. And Lil's wind at my back sticks to my skin and itches my hair. The gods fail us, although we are their faithful servants, and the priests blame me. Lord Gilgamesh. He puts a hand on my chest. It has been nearly a year since anyone in your city has performed any public rite to the Lady Inanna. This feud between you two. You speak to me of the pillow talk between you and my high priestess, then? I demand. My heart is angry, a bitter stone at the pit of my stomach. Only then does he ever flinch in my presence. You ask me to speak where it is not my place, Lord. You are performing the rites without me. Never, Gilgamesh. I search his eyes. He may be lying. All I see is desperation, a need to be believed, and I do believe him. You've come to warn me they seek to replace me, I say. I have. With you, as she did with Utu. We are brothers, Gilgamesh. It is the righteous, it is the noble thing to do, to warn you. Then warn me as you will, brother Enkidu, and I will listen. He nods, a relieved, grateful bow. I burst into the private chambers of the high priestess to Inanna at the temple of Eanna. In 2 fluid strides I have seized Shimhat by her hair, where she sits at the foot of her bed in semi-transparent sleeping dress. Her eyes are wide, the emerald irises shocked, her mouth agape and silent, until I pull her to her feet with my not inconsiderable strength. She shrieks, more pain than protest, but I hear the resignation there too. This has been coming since the day I first arrived in Uruk with my band of single mothers' sons and the noble betrayer Utu at my back. This city had only known peace until me. Releasing Shamhat's hair, I seize her gossamer silk robes, a gift I gave her, tearing them in my fist between her breasts. Her nipples are hard against the fabric, her breasts heaved there. Our eyes meet. Hers are defiant. Do to me the worst you can, they say. I am unafraid of you. Mine rage. The edges of my vision blur with a blackened crimson. What have you done? I snarl into her face. At last we learn who the real beast is. She all but spits in my face. You are no great king, no man god. You are the animal, the man beast, not Enkidu. I slap her, not hard by my standards, backhanded, across the face. Her gown tears. She stumbles out of it. I catch her by the hair, holding her on her feet, something which she has to effort at for some time. You would seek to replace me. Why? I demand. Peto flinches when I open my hand to slap her again if she tries anything stupid. My heart does likewise. I do not like this. I do not want to be here. I want to wake up from this nightmare. There should be another way to deal with her. There has to be. I have done nothing, she says, actually spitting this time, but blood from her split lip and probably the inside of her cheek. The outside is bruising pretty badly already. The mother no longer answers my prayers. She looks at me, red rings around the emeralds of her irises, and I realize that she was not praying at the foot of her bed. She was sobbing. My hand weakens, just a flinch. I grip tighter. That sounds like the definition of having done something wrong, High Priestess. Her head lifts proudly, as though to shrug off my fist from her curls. I am not the one who refuses my place in her creation, God King. You heard her curse you. She did not curse my city. She did not curse us with famine. I watch her as she watches the dirty floor. Have you seen something? How long until you blame this on me to the public? I ask. Her eyes burn with defiance, but her lips press firmly together. I slap her. I hadn't wanted to. It just happens. She falls this time. My hands are numb. I don't hold her up. There is fear in her eyes when she looks up at me, tangled and naked on the floor, and hatred. Is this what you need, then, to be aroused by me? You need to take what is yours by right, by love, with force? With an effort, she pushes herself to her knees. She tears herself the rest of the way out of her gown, seizing her breasts and thrusting them together. Am I too old for you, then? Am I not woman enough? Would you prefer that I were a man? Is that what this is? She leaps to her feet. With heartbreaking ease, I bat away her slapping and punching hands, avoid her kicks for my knees and knees for my groin until she is exhausted. Then again, I catch her by the hair and pin her wrists together at the small of her back. Stop this, I whisper. This is not what I want. Then what do you want, great God King Gilgamesh? I will not wed you. I will not lie with you. I will not risk offspring upon you. It is abhorrent to me. Abhorrent! She screams, laughing hysterically. And yet you would take every girl's first blood on her wedding day. You would risk sons on those women, sons who will be raised to destroy you. I would not, I say, trying to keep my voice low and even. I have made sure that practice is ended for good. Are all of the gods angry? Or just Inanna? For how long will we have to wait out her temple? How long will we have to wait out her temper tantrum? Peto struggles in my arms until I let her free. She turns to me, naked and as small as a girl compared with me. I cannot decide how mothers raise their sons, I say when Peto takes the opportunity to be silent. Every son born to this kingdom has the heavenly right to challenge me when he has grown strong, or I have grown weak, or I have lost my God, Ea's blessing. Let On choose another god king to his liking. Let the Anunnaki make it so. Until then, this is my kingdom, and my people must not be made to believe that I am failing them as their king, that the gods are upset with me when it is clearly you who have failed us all. Shamhat's mouth falls open in outright disbelief, unbelief. If I wed you, Peto, I wed Inanna. If I wed Inanna, only our children will be afforded the right to be great in this country. As it is, firstborn children will no longer be raised to believe that they are the son of their king and themselves descendant of the marriage of gods. What will unify them? Devotion to our children. This is abhorrent to me. You say that your god is mighty Ea. Is Ea not Lady Inanna's consort in heaven? Peto challenges me. In heaven, yes. Why should it not be so on earth? Because on earth she is unwed. She is the fertile earth. She is the soil that needs tended by every man. And she is his daughter. She is not mine by right alone. What woman is any man's alone? Peto spits this at my feet. No man has any right to any woman besides what she wills, marriage contract or otherwise. I don't know how, but she notices that my eyes are not on hers, but have once again found their way to her full, firm breasts and what must be painfully erect nipples. Her eyes change. Their heat is instantly inviting, like a campfire and caught beneath a willow tree in the night. She has approached me, I realize. Her hand is on my chest. She has reached inside my clothing, a large piece of cloth worn around her shoulders over a skirt. Her hand is warm. You desire me. She finds my erection, seizes it. You know I can please you without end, without trying. Tiring, without fatigue. Every other woman in the world. Desire every other woman in the world, and find what you lack in me. I do not seek your pleasure, I say, grunting against the motion of her hand pulling back my foreskin, and the desire for her to replace her hand with her mouth. What do you seek? She asks, looking up at me with her lips shaping the question in an open O. My hands, I realize, have pulled her body against mine, and are full now of breast and buttock. I am hard, painfully so, like I have never been with any of the girls I am wedding, with none of Shamhat's own handmaidens. What do you seek, my king? She asks, using her forefinger to smear around what I'm leaking into her hand. Shamhat's eyes are all I can see. Her words buzz my ears. Her tongue tickles one of my nipples. I want to close my eyes. I shove her away, breathing hard, panting, really, and feeling stupid with my spear pointing and waggling at her with each breath. My people are starving, Peto, I say. A slave to your body you may have made of Enkidu, but fine, Shamhat says. rolling her eyes and wiping my semen on her thigh before picking up the tatters of her robes and swaddling herself in them. I have seen another way. If you will not please her as she wishes to be pleased, she has, I realized, placed her hand between her legs. When she withdraws it, her fingers are slick and gleam in the beam of moonlight streaming in through the window. I do not believe that you know her wishes any longer. You have not heard her answers to your prayers. She looks at me, her eyes narrowing hatefully as she sits herself back on the bed, her breasts bouncing exaggeratedly as she makes sure they are not included in her swaddling. Of course, if she's going to do it, I'm going to look. That doesn't mean I can't also say no. Stop this. Your people are dying too, High Priestess. If you're so horny, call Enkidu. Call all of the warriors, but leave me be. If your goddess is capable only of thinking of her own pleasure, maybe it would be best we find a new goddess and a new High Priestess. Peto stands. The robes fall to the floor. I have to resist rolling my head on my neck at this point. Be naked or do not be naked, woman. Pick one. I have seen in a vision that Lady Inanna has upset herself, let us say, by becoming overly concerned with the well-being of a certain halupu tree. A halupu tree, I repeat. A halupu tree. Peto wraps now one of the sheets from her bed around her nudity, doing about as much good as before. Her nipples aren't hard anymore, at least. Easier not to look at them when I'm not afraid they'll stab me in the eye if I'm not watching out for them. She planted it in the desert, and now she's concerned that it's going to die. So she's living in it. That is why we are having a famine. That sounds like some very serious bullshit, I say. Bullshit was holy once, she retorts. So instead of living in the garden we have cultivated for her in the city, she is living in a random halupu tree in the desert. And what? You want me to go talk to her? You want me to go talk her into coming home? Yes, Robert. She is a goddess. You are a god king, and you want to be a hero. This is what god king heroes do. Mysterious are the ways of a goddess, and inscrutable is Inanna's mind. I saw in my vision that she has planted a garden in her desert, and in her halupu tree have taken up 3 unwelcome residents. A serpent, immune to all charms, an ansu bird, and Inanna's Lilith herself. Then I will find this halupu tree, and I will cut it down, I declare. Are you only able to think of one solution to your problems? Perhaps cutting down the tree should be your last option, great King Gilgamesh. The goddess may not love you killing her home. We will see, I snarl. If this you can do, the goddess may lift the famine. I look at her skeptical. She seems to believe what she says. Then Enkidu and I will off immediately. No, Enkidu must stay here. This is a quest for you alone. I do not trust you, witch, I say, putting my finger under her nose and forcing her to crane her neck to look me in the eye, with all the defiance her emerald fires can muster. I was educated by the great priests of Ur. My mother is the high priestess Pwabi. I know everything there is to know about the worlds of men. I know the secrets of leading them in battle and of placating them in peace. I am the conqueror of Uruk, the slayer of mighty Huwawa. I know how to mobilize the masses for great work projects. I have led them in conquest and plunder of foreign lands. The worlds of women, however, are a mystery to me. But you, Peto, you I know, and you are as treacherous as a snake asking help with fording a river. You will bite me when my back is turned, or my attention is diverted from you. Just to do it. Your secrets evade me. Your magics befuddle me. And yet I must rely on you to feed my people, even when my people starve. You will not also turn my greatest friend into my dearest enemy in my absence. Not while I yet live. Enkidu comes with me. The goddess forbids it. The goddess forbids it! I roar my irony. Or do you? The commands of a god I will obey, witch. You I will not. Lady Inanna calls you and you alone to her side. And if I insist, will she deny the aid of 2 conquering heroes when she would grant it of 1? Enkidu will die if he helps you. There is no way around it. I have seen it. The goddess hath spoken. She does not answer your prayers. Peto's eyes fly open. An impossible emerald light pours out of them. My will is as she speaks! A voice booms from everywhere. It is not Peto's, but her lips mime it. Just as suddenly, she's her normal self again. You are in more danger from yourself than you are from me, Lord Gilgamesh. I would be your holy wife, your sacredest ally in this life, and all of them to come. I watch Peto warily. I swear by all the greatest and oldest gods, and all their most powerful curses, even those curses which I cannot possibly comprehend. If when I return, Enkidu's heart is turned against me, if he or anyone else sits in my throne, I will remove your head from your body, as slowly as the gods permit me the time. Do you understand me, witch? I remove my finger from beneath Peto's nose. She does not flinch, does not so much as blink. I understand you, great King Robert. Chapter 11. There is, indeed, a giant hulupu tree in a low-walled garden in the middle of the desert, exactly where Peto said she'd seen it in her dream. It should be impossible, but there it is. And that's fine, because I'm here to remove it. If Inanna wants it gone, if she's diverting all of her power to keeping it alive in the middle of the damn desert, when she should be feeding my people, well, hell, hacking this sucker down shouldn't take any time at all. Let's get this the fuck over with. I lift my axe, and a serpent dips its head out of the hanging boughs of the weeping willow hulupu tree. It looks right at me, bearing fangs which drip viscous, obviously deadly poison. Sorry, venom. Well, all right then. She did say there would be a serpent. And look at that. It wasted no time making itself known. Just to see what happens, I prop the axe on my shoulder and walk around to the other side of the tree. When I hoist my axe as though to swing at the trunk, the same thing, except the serpent lunges at me. It isn't close enough that I'm in any danger, but I don't back away. I am amused, though. All right now, I say, you want to stop that for me? Inanna says she wants this tree gone. Nobody said anything about killing you. I would prefer not to have to, you hear me? What do you know of what Lady Inanna wants? The serpent asks, theatrically flicking its tongue at me with the final syllable. For a single moment, I'm surprised. Then I'm shaking my head. Suddenly, I'm in a myth. I feel like I've been preparing myself my whole life for this moment, and still, this is not happening. I say, I'm not arguing with you about this. Or, hear me out, human. You can kindly fucking hack your own head off with that axe now. Thank you. I determine that this isn't an entirely bad idea, actually. Looking down at the wedge blade of the axe, I consider how I might get it through my neck, or whether the serpent would be equally pleased if I bashed it into my brain pan instead. Then I whip my attention back to the serpent. No, 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 I say, wagging a finger at it. I denounce you, spirit. Now I know you are no serpent. I command you, come down from that tree. I am no spirit. I am but a simple snake. This is my tree, the serpent protests. I found this tree in this garden, and it's mine. You get your own tree in your own garden. There is plenty of desert for you to go die in. I turn, as though to walk into the desert and there die, then stop myself. Who told you this? Who told you this, that Inanna wants this tree removed? Did Inanna tell you this, or did someone who means to harm you tell you this? Well, I reel around on that. Sorry, that was a different speaker. Who told you this, that Inanna wants this tree removed? Did Inanna tell you this, or did someone who means you harm tell you this? Well, I reel around on the new voice, a voice of a beautiful woman, and I am taken aback. A woman is suddenly standing directly behind me, all right, as though she had been there this whole time. And this is as ordinary days go. Only she's all but as transparent as the gossamer robes which conceal the sacred nudity of Peto and her priestesses. I am startled. I drop my axe, lurching away from her, and stepping away from a lunge from the serpent, only to realize that she is the phantom. Oh, excellent, actually. She appears to be a woman in late middle age, her face round and lined with smile lines, her eyes overbig and glowing, a jade as lukewarm as the universe in its old age. She smiles at me, looks at the serpent, and says nothing. Phantoms can neither speak nor interact in this world. That she is manifested at all must require a great amount of effort for her spirit, or this tree must be producing a remarkable amount of spiritual whatever. I had expected something like this. Approaching the tree once more, I take a different tack. Looking first to the axe, I discard that as an avenue toward getting this quest completed. From a pack on my shoulders, I produce a gish gudi, the long-necked, three-stringed lyre of my people, and my favorite of the many instruments with which I am trained. I begin to play it, plucking with the fingers of my right hand, and working the strings with my left. The serpent watches me with interested eyes. O serpent, will you listen to me? O serpent, will you not heed? I need you to come down, oh come down from that tree. O serpent, won't you listen to me? The serpent's brow arches in an anthropomorphic mime of being impressed. Well, oh well, little man, human thing, your song is good, I'm charmed, yes, indeed, but enchanted I will not be, for you see I am the serpent about whom songs are sung. You cannot enchant me, and I will never leave this tree. O serpent, I know ye well. O serpent, please listen to me. My name is Gilgamesh, a great king, yes, I be. Lady Nana, O serpent, sent me to this tree. Lady Nana, you say, Lady Nana? What know you of Lady Nana? What know you of the goddess? Pitiful man, puny man, you know nothing of what the goddess plans. You speak true, O serpent, you speak true. O serpent, allow me to listen to you. Come sit upon my shoulder, my neck round it yourself wind. O serpent, share with me your mind. Enough of this devil went down to Georgia Wankery, the serpent says, dropping from its branch to the ground. Entice me! I have my own tree in my own garden. I'm here because Lady Inanna wants this tree gone. This isn't about you and me. There is really only one problem, hero. For you see, I have grown fond of the screech owls who nightly take up residence in my tree. My tree also has owls, Snake. More owls than this one, surely. For this tree cannot support as many mice as a tree at the heart of a great city of men. You misunderstand me, human, the serpent says, languishing on its favorite syllables as it dangles itself lower from the branch, reaching its head toward me in the mostly uncanny, serpentine way. All trees have life for me to feed upon. It is so slow and so much work to slither through the sand on my belly. It burns me. It shifts from beneath me. Ah, but you are a man. You know nothing of the troubles of a lowly beast such as I. You rode here on the back of a donkey, did you not? With a great warkunga for speed or travel. We could get you to your mighty wall, Duruk, and I can judge your tree for myself much faster. Will you really listen to me if I tell you what I know? I set aside my instrument. I will. Place your fangs to my throat if you like. I will have no chance to defend myself should you choose to end my life. I will have no chance to kill your precious tree. Before I have finished speaking, the serpent has made himself comfortable, wrapped, boa-like, around my shoulders. It is at that moment, while the Lilith is watching me with dubious eyes, that a great Ansu bird, the monstrous creation of Absu, with a lion's head and a body, but an eagle's wing, with a lion's head and a body, but an eagle's wings and talons, appears from the bowels of the tree. This tree is the entire world, Gilgamesh. It says, looking proudly down at me. It is Lady Inanna's body. The cosmos is a vast desert, like that beyond these walls. This world is a walled garden. The tree is the garden. If you destroy it, you destroy the world. That cannot be, I say to the Ansu bird. Trees are not only trees, as metaphors are not only metaphors. A tree can be the throne of a just king long after both are but memories. It can be the marriage bed of a happy home. There will always be more trees as long as the gods will it. Tend to this place, to the serpent, to the Lilith, to me instead. Worship Lady Inanna, Gardener King. Tend to her. To what end? I ask. I have a garden all my own at her temple to Eanna. Lady Inanna is neglecting her people by being in this garden at all. I look to the phantom. You are her Lilith. Tell her to leave from this place and return to her people in the name of the Bull of Heaven. The phantom looks shocked, placing her hand over a mute mouth, gasping airlessly. It was worth a shot. She shakes her head like I'm stupid. She's probably right. You seem not to understand the human thing, the Ansu bird says from the highest boughs. My attention returns to it. I am aware of the respirations of the serpent draped around my shoulders. I am not afraid of it. Let death come if it will. What do I not understand? That temple is no longer appealing to the goddess. The bird explains, lifting a foot and opening it like an extended, explanatory palm. I won't have any problem killing this bird if it comes to that. She liked how it was before. Her people only care whether the grain will grow, whether the rivers will flood, whether maids will take their husband's seed, and that their children will be born healthy. They care nothing for their devotion to her, outside how she will reward them. Her kind have exterminated yours before. She is not so loving that she cannot start anew. Ask your ancestor, Utnapishtim. The bird visibly shrugs. Yeah, I'm gonna wring its neck. The serpent snugs tighter around mine. I know of no ancestor, Utnapishtim. Well, the bird exclaims with a squawk. Far be it for me to spoil a story he could tell with his own lips. He survived the ancient flood and yet lives, and holds the secrets to the immortality of the gods. If the bird is suggesting to me something I might covet, that day is someday, not today. Suddenly I see the flash of an axe. I hear the thunk of copper into wood. I hear not the thunk of copper into wood, but the wet smack of blade into flesh. Enkidu's weapon, a hero's axe, forged of the finest steel in all the world, passes through Lady Inanna's neck and shoulder in one fluid motion, as though she were less substantial than a bamboo reed. Her head and arm are ejaculated from her body in a gushing fountain of blood, unlike anything any human person has ever experienced, like an overfilled bota bag squeezed by an angry giant. The serpent releases an agonizing hiss and drops, dead, from my shoulders. The Lilith is clawing her face, leaving raked, bleeding lines in her translucent face, and silently screaming. The Anzu bird shrieks and dives for Enkidu. I watch as with his hands he breaks the monster's neck and throws it to the ground. And then there is no hulupu tree, there is no garden, no snake, no owl, only Enkidu turning to me. He is covered in blood. To my horror, it is not Inanna's blood, but his own, and it runs out of his mouth and nose, and from his eyes and ears, and a great gash that is opened up across his belly. Are you well, my brother? He asks, walking, collapsing, then dragging himself to look up from my feet at me with a dog's eager smile. His eyes seem ignorant of the blood oozing between them. Enkidu! I gasp, but his body goes limp and falls on its side before me. I'm screaming, staring in horror as the desert sand drinks my brother's blood. No. Wordlessly, inarticulately, I scream, falling to my knees to vent my rage and grief at the uncaring desert sky. The ground rumbles. The halupu tree lurches, falling, its roots bursting out of soil gone as dead as blasted sand. The ground quakes, screaming as though in response to my own cries, as it is rent apart beneath where the tree once stood. A chasm opens up very nearly at my feet, like a gaping, hellish mouth, and it swallows my dead friend Enkidu's body whole. Oh, hell no. Inanna can't have his life and eat him too. I dive in after him. Chapter 12. I could not save him. That is all I know. Everything else is inconsequential. I can hardly recognize myself. I'm standing in front of a bronze-plated door, which was once polished to a golden shine and as reflective as the heavens. I would stop here when I was young, when I was great King Gilgamesh, and I would behold myself. In the bronze reflection, I could believe I saw what my people saw in me. As it is, I see only a wretch. Sorry. With hollow cheeks and ravaged features, my face frost-chilled and burnt by the sun. I have leaned my cloth-wrapped burden, which was once shorter than I only and bigger boned, but which now, against the door, picking him up once more, holding him tight to my chest, I walk through the doors of Inanna's temple at Eana. Peto stands from her couch. No longer the rich room this once was, she looks at me from a face which has grown old from hunger and grief. Lo, stranger, she says, approaching me, ease yourself of your burden a while. I raise myself to my full height, clutching tight my package for balance. Her eyes fill with wonder at my great wizened size, but not recognition. I may not feed you, traveler. I have nothing to share. The canals and wells are dry. There is no rain to grow grain to bake bread. But I have a couch you may rest your weary bones upon. Sit with me, tell me, why are your cheeks so hollow and your features so ravaged? Why is your face frost-chilled and burnt by the sun? Why is there so much grief in your heart? Why are you worn out and ready to collapse, like someone who has been on a long, hard journey? What is that you carry? And who are you? What are you called in the lands from whence you hail? Gently, I set down my burden, placing him alone on the couch to rest. I look into Peto's emerald eyes, at the dim candle flames they have become, and what remains of my tattered heart is scattered ash in the wind. I thought to never see her again. I struggled to smile. Cheeks that have become sun-blasted parchment crack and tear. It has been so long since I had a reason for anything but sorrow. I thought I'd forgotten how to feel. Do you not know your betrothed priest, High Priestess Shamat? I ask. I am he, that king of Uruk who left you to save his people from this very famine which has ruined your beauty. It is I, Gilgamesh, the wretched. Peto's two large eyes are wide and shimmer like the surface of a lake waiting to break. Should not my cheeks be hollow? I ask, tears streaking the grime marring my once beautiful face. Should not my face be ravaged, frost-chilled and burnt by the desert sun? Should not my heart be filled with grief? Should I not be worn out and ready to collapse? My friend, my brother, whom I love so dearly, who accompanied me through every danger. The fate of mankind has overwhelmed him. Inanna took his life, and his body she thrust into the underworld. I looked down at my package. I found him, is all I can say. For 6 days and 7 nights I have carried him since I returned from Inanna's kingdom beneath the earth. I have neither eaten nor rested since I have returned with my brother's body from that place. For 6 days and 7 nights I have mourned my brother. I thought to myself when his body did not rise from its condition, if my strength is great enough, perhaps he will live again. Inanna's Absu bird, or her Lilith, will return his soul to me. But no, Enkidu is never again to rise. My brother will never again kiss my mouth. I turn to Peto. My legs disappear from beneath me. She catches me around my shoulders, my great grief dragging her to the ground with me. Oh, Robert, she cries, her hand seizing my hair. You have finally returned to us, great king. I barely recognize the great man you have become. It has been 7 years since you left us, my love. Please tell me that you are here to stay with me. With all the effort I have remaining, I lift my head to look into her emerald fires. I cannot. I shudder to admit. I must bury my brother. She nods, tears now spilling freely down her cheeks. It is good that you would plant him in the soil of the city that left him. This is not. I must take him away to the faraway mountains. He must sleep in the bosom of our mother. I must. Please, Robert, do not. Plant him with the great tree that remembers your might. Return him to this earth. That would be most pleasing to Lady Ishtar. Lady Ishtar, I ask, seeking her face, horror filling my very being. She nods, her neck so weary. The Lady Inanna has taken another suitor in your absence. Sargon, my son, Bayaga, your greatest rival, the one you forgot in your absence. Ishtar has taken her name, has taken the name her king prefers. This is enough to erode away the last of my resolve to stay in this place and not leave once and for all. My head hangs, my defeat utter, final. Beto pulls me into her flaccid bosom. Sobs rack my shoulders, shoulders which were once indomitable. I should have returned. I did not. I did not return. Once I found him, I roamed the wilderness of the underworld. What was I to do? What am I to do without him? Those who dwell there squat in the darkness. Dirt is their food. Their drink is clay. They are dressed in feather garments like birds. They never see the light, and on door and bolt the dust lies thick. When I entered that house, I looked, and all around me were piles of crowns. I saw proud kings who had ruled this land, who had set out roast meat before the gods and offered cool water and cakes for the dead. I saw high priests and acolytes squatting, exorcists and prophets, the ecstatic and the dull. I saw Itana, the primeval king, Sumukwan, the wild animal's god, and Deresh Kigal, wife of Nergal, somber queen of the underworld. Beletseri, her scribe, was kneeling before her, reading from the tablet on which each mortal's death is inscribed. When the queen saw me, she asked, "Who let great King Gilgamesh in my halls?" My throat catches. I choke a sob. I cannot bear what has happened to my beloved Enkidu. How can my mind have any rest? I will do as you suggest. My people deserve that much at least. Let his memory grow into a great and mighty forest. Then I will leave this land for good. I will roam those places my beloved Enkidu loves so much before I interrupted his peace with you and your scheming. My beloved Enkidu has turned into clay. Enkidu, the bravest man to ever live. And there he lies, bound in bandages for the burial pit. I stole him away from her only to return him to Inanna with grave goods and sacrifice. It is too much. Peto lifts my head. May it be that this pleases her, and she returns his spirit to his body in the afterlife. And won't I lay down in the dirt like him and never rise again? I ask, pushing myself away from her bony chest. Her eyes scorch mine. There is one who knows a way around death. If that is your wish, my great king. You are a married woman. I remind her, and you are my betrothed. It was never I who betrayed you, never once I who worked against you. Would you not avenge yourself on the man who took me before our wedding day? Is this possible? You say that I can make myself live eternally as the gods. I do. And you know of this means. I do. I stare into her emerald eyes. What is your condition? Only what you want, Robert. I will tell you how to find Utnapishtim, your relative and the last mortal to escape Ur-Shanabi, and you will return to Uruk and lead this city as a proper king. You will tell me if I will return to your marriage bed. Her slow blink is her only affirmative. My head hangs. Taking a single breath through my nose, I stand, making myself as regal as my racked body will allow. Shamhat, why have I allowed Enkidu to curse you? I ask. Wasn't it you who gave him fine bread fit for a god and fine beer fit for a king, who clothed him in glorious robe and gave him to me as my intimate friend? I will lie him down on a royal bier. On his left I will place Enkidu's statue in the seat of repose. The people of Uruk will mourn him, and when he is gone, I will roam the wilderness with matted hair and only my lion skin. It was Utu who turned him against me, not you. So this I say to you now. I help her from her feet. Shamhat, I assign you a different fate. My heart, which cursed you, will bless you now. May you be adored by nobles and princes. 2 miles away from you may your lover tremble with excitement. 1 mile away may he bite his lip in anticipation. May the warrior long to be naked beside you. May Ishtar, your goddess, give you generous lovers, whose treasure chests brim with jewels and gold. May the mother of 7 be abandoned for your sake. Now, gather my people. My beloved friend deserves a true funeral. Tell the blacksmiths, the goldsmiths, workers in silver, metal, and gems, create a statue of Enkidu, my friend. I do not care if I am no longer your king, nor if Aga will punish you harshly for this. Do it. Make it more splendid than any statue has ever been made. Cover his beard with lapis lazuli, his chest with gold. Let obsidian and all other beautiful stones, 1,000 jewels of every color, be piled along with the silver and gold and sent on a barge down the Euphrates to Great Wall Duruk for Enkidu's statue. I leave her, marching a ruined city which suddenly has all the vim and vigor of my youth, to the treasury. A ghost of myself and nothing more. None would dare stand in my way, and none does. The guards of that place make themselves invisible as I throw open the great doors. I am standing atop the great ziggurat of Ea, beholding all of my assembled people. Weak with hunger, none of them is here to rejoice, and neither am I. Enkidu! I cry to the heavens. Dearest brother, you came to Uruk from the wilderness. Your mother was a gazelle, your father a wild ass. You were raised on milk of antelope and deer, and the wandering herds taught you where the best pastures were. May the paths that led you to the cedar forest mourn you constantly, day and night. May the elders of Great Wald Uruk mourn you, who gave us their blessing when we departed. May the hills mourn you, and the mountains we climbed. May the pastures mourn you as their own son. May the forest we slashed in our fury mourn you. May the bear mourn you, the hyena, the panther, the leopard, deer, jackal, lion, wild bull, gazelle. May the rivers you lie on, Euphrates, mourn you, whose sacred waters we offer to the gods. May the young men of Great Wall Duruk mourn you, who cheered when you slaughtered the bull of heaven. My friend Utu, may the farmer mourn you, who praised you to the skies in his harvest song. May the shepherd mourn you, who massaged you with sweet-smelling oils. May the wedding guests mourn you like their own brother. May the temple priests mourn you, loosening their hair. I fall to my knees atop Ayana's mighty ziggurat, tearing my hair and rending my sackcloth robes. The sky tears with lapis lazuli lightning, and the first rain in 7 years, falls on my people. Hear me, elders! Hear me, young men! I cry. My beloved brother is dead! He is dead! My beloved brother is dead! I throw myself over his body like a wife. I will mourn as long as I breathe. I will sob for him like a woman who has lost her only child. Oh, Enkidu! You were the axe at my side in which my arm trusted, the knife in my sheath, the shield I carried. My glorious robe, the wide belt around my loins, and now a harsh fate has torn you from me forever.
beloved friend, swift stallion, wild deer, leopard ranging in the wilderness. Enkidu, my friend, together we crossed the mountains. Together we killed Uawa. Gu guarded the cedar forest. And together we rescued my people from the bowl of heaven. What is this sleep that has seized you, that has darkened your face and stopped your breath? I veil Enkidu's face like a bride's, and his bandage wrapped body is taken from me by the priests of Ishtar. Peto steps up beside me, her face hidden beneath a black veil. I gather up my treasure, priceless, jewel-studded weapons and tools with inlaid handles of ivory and gold, and I pile them in Peto's arms. See that he has the richest grave goods and that the gods are satisfied, I say, looking north and east toward the faraway mountains. Shifting her burden to a man with a cart, Peto asks me, "Will you not accept my offer?" I regard her. My heart longs to be with my mother, High Priestess. But if what you say is possible, and what you want is only for me to do what I should have before Enkidu came to my life, I hesitate, but I nod. I will do it. Tell me what you know. End part 1 of episode 2. Open up your box of sunshine and smile as confetti comes raining down on you. You feel a lot like the good guy. Do you know why everything's so blue? Well, love is fire and the coals are barely burning. Cold fills the emptiness that fills this empty place. I taught you to walk, but then you ran away from me. And that's not how it's supposed to be. I collide with love is an elusive state of mind. I know there's something else it's supposed to be. I collide with love is an elusive state of mind. Something's killing me. Tearful confessions have watered down and broken down. A chance for unrequited love to finally reach its wall. You're waiting for the axe to fall, but can't you see it lying on the ground? Well, I collide with love is an elusive state of mind. I know there's something else it's supposed to be. I collide with love is an elusive state of mind. Something's killing me. The best one. You could be the best one at cleaning this mess. You could be the best one. Be the best one. Be the best one. You could be the best one at cleaning up this filthy mess. Collide, Jars of Clay. Begin part 2. Chapter 13. Have you ever woken from sleep certain of the knowledge that you had been sleeping? Your mind and body hung over from the emotions and experiences which your brain has just simulated. If, indeed, this is what dreaming is, your soul positive it is not where it belongs, only to find yourself unable to remember the dreams? Nothing? Not even what they were about? Or why you feel so harrowed? Me too. My eyes are open and I look on a dark as empty and profound as the moment before the heat death of the universe. Except this doesn't feel like death, and it's hot in here too. Stiflingly hot. Why do I feel like I know what that feels like? Death.
And why can't I shake the feeling? It doesn't feel like blindness, and I'm neither blind nor dead. Blindness is making Blindness is making no sense of the data around you. There is simply no light in this place by which I might see. But I am not unaware of my surroundings, nor am I unfamiliar with their smells. I'm in my office, in my overstuffed chair, with my legs kicked out in front of me, crossed at the ankle, in their valley among the peaks of the Clutter Mountain atop my desk. Death is... What is death? Is it nothing? Is it nothingness? I know what the ancients thought, but what do I believe? Seconds count themselves by in silence. The only sounds are my rustling, my feet hitting the floor, oozing myself upright. Almost as soon as I am, my neck bends nearly double, and my head hangs with some indescribable sorrow. A great melancholy sits on my shoulders, a loss I cannot name, like a gargoyle to my shame. A heavy burden my soul has so long carried I've long since forgotten it. For a moment, revisiting me, a ghost of an old friend, unknown, unexamined, but felt, and, for a moment at least, dwelt upon. And, like that, it's gone. I take a breath, steadying my head on my neck. I think I get what's happening now. I can remember Francis like he'd just left, so maybe he has. Maybe I didn't fall asleep yet, just drifted off for a few seconds. That didn't feel like a few seconds of dreams, and I hurt like I've been asleep a week. Right on cue, as I'm stretching my neck and shoulders, the door opens and I am bathed in a column of blinding light. I manage not to cry out my surprise. Wincing against the pain, I know immediately the tall, slender figure inviting himself in and blessedly closing the door behind him. I hear his chuckle. He must think I look like a spooked ghoul at a corpse in a graveyard. "Giorgio?" I ask, my hands finding their way to the top left drawer of my desk while the image of the door fades from my retina. "Oh, you are awake. Good." That's not how he sounds like. "Oh, you are awake. Good. I thought I might have to wake you," he says. The chuckle is still there. His voice is handsome, friendly. "That means I won't need to also light a candle. That does add a degree of difficulty to this. I would prefer to avoid..." Aha! His footsteps have been approaching at his normal pace, like he knows his way around in the dark. He should. He's my best friend, after all. And it's really not like there's all that much to trip over in here. I hear his hands seize the back of the guest chair. At the same time or just after, anticipating him, maybe racing him, I flick the head of a drag to life and stand to light the candles. "Ah, very good. You have candles ready. For once. Were you waiting for me?" Sure looks that way, doesn't it? I admit, blowing out the drag and tossing it somewhere in the dark. Though, I sit, finally meeting his waiting gaze, his eyes as blue as Babylon's Ishtar Gate. No, I was not. Even in the weak light of the twin tallow candles, Giorgio is a strikingly average-looking man. He has an expressive Italian face, but at 20 and 5 years he hasn't quite grown into his cheeks or his jaw yet. He will be good-looking when he reaches maturity, especially when he learns to dress to his station, not like he's the son of a dockhand. He would hate to hear me say it, but he will look like his father, except for his nose. His nose doesn't look like his father's. Not to make any suggestions about his mother, she was, as far as I am aware, a good, faithful Christian woman. Giorgio's nose is his most striking feature. I don't know if he got it from his mother, but a little overbig and hawkish, it, combined with his piercing blue eyes and leonine personality, are how he got his nickname, Il Grifone, the Griffin. It suits him well. as he suits his city. But you never put out fresh candles before falling asleep. You are expecting someone. He's not challenging me. I recently introduced him to Aristotle and logic. He's been deducing everything lately. Yes, someone, I allow, making a game of the thing. I watch his eyes. They're watchful, observant, like an eagle's, and drunk, I realize. In 1,000 years, he'll have the eyes of a cop and the stare of a judge. There are no cops yet. He's got the other part down pat. I wonder who he learned this one from. His mother or his father? Who? I shrug. I'm not being cryptic. Cryptic. I was expecting someone, I guess, but no one in particular. I'm always expecting someone. But you don't always. Is it Regina? No, I say after some time, not Regina. I don't think. I was just being prepared. You know what? Maybe I was expecting her. Probably I was. That would make sense. Nothing wrong with it, Giorgio says with a shrug. A laissez-faire attitude I'm not sure he actually takes. Doesn't she most days? Stop by, I mean. Giorgio. I frown, pushing a sigh through my nose. You are more irascible than I expected, Giorgio observes sharply. Are you unaware it is Calan DiMaggio? What does that mean to me? I hear myself snap at him. I look away. My head feels like it's filled with bees. I need to get something to eat. I need to smoke. Rob. Giorgio's voice is soft, not hesitant, but he cuts himself off. Reluctantly, I look at him. There is only concern on his face. He's leaning a little toward me in that undersized, rickety chair. Is something wrong? Yes, I snap. Unsteadily, accidentally, I slam open the top left drawer of my desk. What is this strength? I realize I'm looking at my hand and arm like they've betrayed me. I'm just sober, I say to the sacks of Dhumrapana and cannabis. So sober I think I'll die. Then to Joe. I'm going to have a moog. You want one? He shrugs, and I'm thankful to be reminded of the buzz in his smile. It is Calan DiMaggio, and I don't need him thinking I meant anything by that, and that he needs to be a better friend by getting involved in managing my life. He's already more friend than I know what to do with or believe I deserve. Didn't Francis remind me the church only brings the good stuff out for holy days and festivals anyway? Only 1,000 times. Calan DiMaggio is no Christian holy day, but it most certainly is a festival. I guess Giorgio's already had himself something of a good time. And good for him. I hope he's not here to invite me to join. There are those who would like to see you among the people, more Rob. That's all I'm trying to say. Right? I think to myself, and if I'm going to be believed, those people think they're the Scaleo. And if I'm to be believed, those people think they're the Scaleo. I sigh. Sorry I snapped. I say freely enough to the moog I'm rolling. It's been a weird day. Has it? Did I interrupt something? The questions he asks and the sincerity with which he asks them empty a pit of guilt in my stomach I know I won't be able to fill by handing him his moog. I'm going to anyway, but is it a lie if he believes I don't spend my time in a way I believe he will disapprove of, and I don't disillusion him? What do I even know of what he believes of how I spend my time? No, I stutter. Whatever other lie or evasive maneuver I had prepared, forgotten. I guess I don't know if it's been a weird day. I may have been asleep, but I was asleep, and I don't know. I think I had weird dreams, but I don't remember. I feel weird. Are you sure you were asleep? If you were having a vision or in the middle of something. I interrupt him, most impolitely, by flicking a lighted drag. We both watch the little Agni spirit dance on its stick for a moment. Then I light my moog and toss him one. He holds up a hand, denying a drag of his own. Thank you, he says. He lights using a candle. A little wax drips on his pants. He doesn't seem to notice. He wouldn't. He doesn't wash his clothes, and he doesn't have a wife to bitch at him for a little wax in her laundry. I am distinctly aware of the smell exuding from both my body and my clothing, both of which I clean myself. Or, I should say, the stink, because I'm not doing the best job in the world. Joe never seems to notice that either. Is he a good friend, or am I that lost a cause? If you were implying, I say around a mouthful of smoke, that you interrupted me rubbing one out, you did not. Giorgio barks a little cough of laughter, wheezing along as smoke jets intermittently from his nose and between his lips. I smile. I thought that was pretty funny, too. That could explain why you're in such a bad mood, he offers, when he has enough control over himself to get the words out. I know what you're really doing with those women. Perhaps you should hump the prostitutes when you interview with them, or you could sleep with your wife. He suggests this like he's only trying to help, and he is. But why do Francis and Giorgio all of a sudden want to talk to me about my maritals after 2 years of silence? What could they know that I don't? Anything, if they've spoken to her inside the last calendar year. But really, I meant like a ritual of some kind, division maybe. My lips are clamped together and grip my teeth like a snarl when I say around the moog in my fingers, I was sleeping. There was no ritual, no vision. I was doing, or if I was doing or dreaming anything at all, there was no magic in it. I've found, watching Giorgio watch me. His features are blank except of focus. He's never talked to me about this side of what I am believed to do. My eyebrow shoots up. Why are you asking me about this? I am trying to be respectful, he says with a shrug. Just because I am a Christian does not mean that you have to hide that part of yourself from me. We do not have to like all of the same things or share all of our thoughts or all of our beliefs in common for us to coexist. Is this not what you say all the time? Something feels wrong about this. Not that I didn't say that and many things like it literally all the time, but I was usually being dismissive. Have you ever heard of a group which calls itself the Scoleo Demiurgoi? Sometimes they're called the School. They're a secret cabal that runs the world. Francis's voice echoes in my head. He's an imposter come to my office wearing Giorgio's face? Is that what I'm thinking? That was fast. And that was the cannabis thinking. And now I'm talking to myself. Call and response. I pull on the moog, burning the tip of my finger on the last of it. I flick at the die alone somewhere in the darkness with a hiss, sucking the injured digit. I'm glaring and angry at myself, but not for the minor burn. I'm going insane in this office. Then I'm rubbing the finger on my linen shirt and rolling another moog. Fuck it, right? I am not a threat to you, Robert. May as well be. I eye Giorgio over my work. He's so sincere, like a child. I roll my eyes back to my Mugen. It isn't him I doubt. He believes what he says is true. Fate may prove him wrong, but that isn't why I'm dubious. And it is neither my job nor my place to disillusion him. I shrug. Perhaps not, but I also have nothing to hide from you. I lie. I don't see recognition in his eyes. I don't perform ritual magic no matter what you've heard. That's not a lie, actually. You're not the sorcerer, Estrega? He asks. I hear the disappointment and confusion in his voice, but not suspicion that I'm lying. That surprises me. Francis accused me of that, too. You don't work the old magic and speak with the old gods. Are you not versed in La Vecchia Religione? Everyone says you are. I look up at him. There is a disarming character to the twinkle in Giorgio's eye, like he's a little boy who still believes in miracles meeting his first priest. I start to ask him what he's heard about me. Then I decide he must be joking. He must be. He must be busting my balls. That's what friends do when one of them is acting like he thinks he's some kind of all-powerful wizard. Except, no, I say, affecting a chuckle. Magic isn't real. This feels like something I shouldn't have said even before it's made the trip from thought to speech. By then it was already too late to take back. Giorgio gives this declaration an unimpressed, if you say so, face and a half-hearted shrug. Hopefully it is not as you say. A world without God's miracles or the miracles of God would be a sad, boring world, only having one another to blame for everything that has gone wrong. We need the gods, Robert, even if it is just so we might escape them, or might scapegoat them. This word, scapegoat, sets off a chain reaction of small explosions inside my brain. In the moment, these explosions are fully formed thoughts. The time which elapses in totale is less than that of the blinking of an eye. It is, quite literally, the firing of a handful of synapses. But my mind was filled utterly and profoundly with them. The Master, reading Leviticus 16. The Lord spoke unto Moses after the death of the two sons of Aaron who died when they approached the Lord. The Lord said unto Moses, Speak unto Aaron thy brother, that he is not to come whenever he chooses into the most holy place behind the curtain in front of the atonement cover on the ark, or else he will die. For I will appear in the cloud over the atonement cover. This is how Aaron is to enter the most holy place. He must first bring a young bull for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering. He is to put on the sacred linen tunic with linen undergarments next to his body. He is to tie the linen sash around him and put on the linen turban. These are sacred garments, so he must bathe himself with water before he puts them on. From the Israelite community, he is to take 2 male goats for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering. Aaron is to offer the bull for his own sin offering, to make atonement for himself and his household. Then he is to take the 2 goats and present them before the Lord at the entrance to the tent of meeting. He is to cast lots for the 2 goats, 1 lot for the Lord and the other for Azazel. Aaron shall bring the goat whose lot falls to the Lord, and sacrifice it for a sin offering. But the goat chosen by lot as the scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord, to be used for making atonement by sending it away to Azazel, into the wilderness. And from Job 1. In the land of Uz there lived a man whose name was Job. This man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys. And they had a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the East. His sons used to hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays, and they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. When a period of feasting had run its course, Job would make arrangements for them to be purified. Early in the morning he would sacrifice a burnt offering for them, thinking, Perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. This was Job's regular custom. One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan, the adversary, came with them also. The Lord said to Satan, Where have you come from? Satan answered the Lord, From roaming through the earth, going back and forth on it. And from Enoch 7 and 8. These are the names of their chiefs. Somyaza, who was their leader, Baramael, Akabiel, Tamiel, Ramuel, Donnel, Azkael, Sarachniel, Asael, Armers, Bratraal, Anane, Zavabe, Samsavael, Ertael, Turel, Yomyael, Arazial. These were the prefects of the 200 angels, and the remainder were with them. Then they took wives, each choosing for himself, whom they began to approach and with whom they cohabited, teaching them sorcery, incantations, and the dividing of roots and trees. And the women conceiving brought forth giants, whose stature was each 300 cubits. These devoured all which the labor of men produced, until it became impossible to feed them, when they turned against men in order to devour them, and began to injure birds, beasts, reptiles, and fishes, to eat their flesh one after another, and to drink their blood. Then the earth reproved the unrighteous. Moreover, Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates. the fabrication of mirrors, and the workmanship of bracelets and ornaments, the use of paint, the beautifying of the eyebrows, the use of stones of every valuable and select kind, and of all sorts of dyes, so that the world became altered. Impiety increased, fornication multiplied, and they transgressed and corrupted all their ways. And then they're forgotten. A natural explanation, I say. Void gods, miracles, and magic is not less wondrous. God's mysteries are his own, Giorgio insists. His voice may be a little more forceful than it was. This is his God we're talking about. And those who reveal them for all to see are his greatest prophets. And those who reveal them for all to see are his greatest prophets. I blink. I'd open my mouth to speak, and now it's closed. But I don't remember what I've said. Actually, Rob may have said that last part, even though Giorgio is looking at me and lit by the tallow candles flickering agony, like I've just said something profound. Yeah, he did. And those who reveal them for all to see are his greatest prophets. The thing is, I don't know what it was. I panic. Something I'd thought to say earlier, but was interrupted falls from my lips. You didn't interrupt anything. I was probably just going to smoke and wait for no one to show up and fall back to sleep, wasn't I? A moment wherein I hope Giorgio isn't deciding whether he should be concerned for me passes. His eyes are half squinty, like he isn't sure what he just saw or heard, or both, were real. The only thing I can know for certain, I hear him breathe. The only thing I can know for certain, I hear him breathe like a prayer, is that I know nothing at all. He closes his eyes, sighs his lungs empty, then looks right through me with that piercing blue gaze. There's nothing uncanny about it, nothing supernatural, but I squirm under my unfamiliarity with what I find there. He's got this dumb kind of smile on his face, like he's figured something out, and I have gone, in an instant, from an enigmatic to a sympathetic protagonist in his inner telling of this story. Our story, in this case, I suppose. Too bad I can't tell this part, too. One of those tragedies of history and time's passing, I suppose. What? I ask. What did I say? Did I say something? Tranquillizarsi, Tranquillizarsi, friend Robert. Relax. You have said and done nothing. I do not know why it has taken me so long to notice. Surely I am the damned idiot to call myself your friend. Ain't that right? And have never given even a single moment of thought before now to your plight. My plight? I ask. Now I'm rolling my Mugen with fascination. Giorgio evidently gets melodramatic when he's drunk. I mean, let's not act like he's not as Italian as they get, but I've never seen him like this. Perhaps for the reasons he's about to elucidate. You tell me. Rob, he says, like I should be thinking what he's thinking instead of what I'm thinking, which, for what it's worth, is that my friend might not. Oh, Mike has fallen somewhere. Okay, I didn't know that I dropped my mic. Shit! How did this happen? Okay, sorry, dropped my mic. That's so funny. Right when he says, you tell me, I drop my mic. So anyway, my plight? I ask. Now I'm rolling my Mugen with fascination. Giorgio evidently gets melodramatic when he's drunk. I mean, let's not act like he's not as Italian as they get, but I've never seen him like this. Perhaps for the reasons he's about to elucidate. You tell me. Rob, he says like I should be thinking what he's thinking instead of what I'm thinking, which, for what it's worth, is that my friend might not need this moog I'm rolling him, but that I'm going to give it to him anyway. Do you know what day it is? I legitimately do not know what day it is, I say with an only sort of ironic eye roll, licking the mooged clothes, passing it to Giorgio and moving my hands to another. At this point, I don't know how many I've rolled either. I'm not even sure I know what year it is. He laughs like he knows I'm joking. It's the 900th year of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Rob. I know you know that. Is it? I shrug. And it's the third day of Gallimaggio. His good cheer, it seems, is not to be deterred. Not that I would prefer him in good cheer. In poor cheer, I would prefer him and his cheer, regardless of state, to be elsewhere. I'd prefer to be left alone. My hands scratch at my beard. Was it the first or the second day of Gallimaggio? Did Francis say? So I didn't even sleep a full day away. It's probably before noon then. Francis is tomorrow. Maybe his last. I don't know where this thought comes from. It's whispered, like a secret warning, or a prayer, and my scalp shudders like fingers or tendrils of cold have caressed through my hair. My shoulders and head roll around on my spine at the image in my mind. I want to shake my head. I want to stand. I want to leave. A whole day is not a short while to sleep. I sigh. Don't tell me that's what you came here for. Don't tell me that's what you came here for. It's already been brought to my attention that my presence would be liked. Giorgio gives me a look, like he doesn't know what I mean. Do you miss your family, Robert? The question is direct, and asked that way, but not without sympathy. I don't know what I've been looking at, and I don't remember when I look into Giorgio's eyes. He doesn't seem to notice my disgust. I swallow hard. I lick another moog sealed. The gum on the inner edge of the thin, nearly translucent square of paper catches on a tongue whose cottonmouth has nothing to do whatever with the reefer we've been smoking. No. I'm strangely proud and aware that maybe I should not be. And aware that I should maybe not be that. My voice didn't quaver. 14. We smoke our Mugen for a while, and blessed silence. All silences must end sometime, if only in the wailings of loved ones' grief. This one was doomed from the start. Giorgio didn't come here to sit and smoke in quiet. Maybe someday he would, if things were different, but things are how they were, and he came here to speak. They all do. I've never asked about your family. Giorgio muses to the ceiling, watching the smoke drift and disappear up there beyond the radius of the candle's weak flame. I am watching him with bored eyes. You gonna tell me next how you've known me 2 years, and that you didn't ask out of respect, but I have never had this talk, it occurs to me. Not with Adalbert, not even with Al-Shamshir. If I'd had, it would have been with Adalbert, though. Probably. I'm sure I haven't read it, either, nor overheard it. Why, then, do I feel like I've had it 1,000,000 times? Because I've had it in my mind too many times to count. Maybe I was expecting him. Some part of me must have anticipated someone would follow in Francis's wake. You've lived in Genova for what, Rob? 3 years? 4? My eyes sort of jerked to Giorgio, like I'd forgotten he was there, even as I thought of his being here. 2, I correct him around my moog, not taking this one any slower than however many I've already had. It feels longer. It feels like I've known you a decade. He muses. Really, it feels like I've known you my whole life, like you've always been here, or like I was always waiting on you to show up. That's really fucking loud. That's like a half mile away, that car. I don't look at him. I don't want to know if his eyes are stoned and distant and he's really just talking to himself, like they always are. You haven't, I say. My voice is firm. My skin prickles with a fear I couldn't articulate. I've known you all this time, and I thought maybe why you didn't come out on the holy days. It was because you did not worship. And I thought maybe you hated Christians. Then I wondered if maybe the rumors about you, that you live out here alone like this, never leaving even though you could. You're rich, maybe the richest person in the city, was because you are some sort of fugitive, on the run from the church or from some noble. Adelbert, maybe. My skin prickles, but that never made the sense to me. He goes on, definitely speaking to himself now. A man on the run, an outlaw, even a disgraced noble who wanted to stay hidden away from his enemies would not so publicly live as you do. What are you saying? I ask, remembering well Francis's threat. If not for the tingling panic that Giorgio is, in fact, trying to warn me of something, but I don't know what, I could almost believe I'm as cool as I sound, and hope I look, with my Mugen's cherry burning bright under my wide-brimmed hat. Everyone in Genoa knows who you are, Giorgio says. All right, so that's not a big deal. I've helped a lot of people, and I'm basically the only person who lives here who isn't also from here. They would know me, and it's not like this is my real name or the name I used in Tuscany, nor any of the dozens of names I had already assumed to that point. At least they aren't talking about me. Everyone talks about you all the time, Giorgio says, shattering the peace I've come to with my life as casually as a girl making a wish on a dandelion. And he's not even looking at me. Speculation about what you do up here could be a sport, and crowds would come to watch. At this point, I realize I have nearly a dozen Moog rolled, more than a Mugen rolled, more than plenty, too many by a lot. They go in the pocket I had sewn in the breast of my shirt. I never underestimate the utility of a breast pocket. If you're not keeping your pens in there, you can keep your weed in there. And here I am, your best friend, and I don't know you any better than anyone else. My eyes, if he or anyone else were watching, have darted now between Giorgio and the things I'm distracting myself with, in exactly what I would term the furtive manner of the grossly guilty. I stare openly, unable either to imagine or predict what he wants from me right now, unable to believe he's looking off to nowhere. If he were a cat, I'd want to know what he's looking at, what he's seeing. As it is, I'm relieved it's not me. Don't you? I ask. Don't you observe me as I am, where they see only what they want to? As you say, he says, not looking at me, not answering me directly. What the fuck is going on? Is this what talking to me is like? I can't know you. I can only observe and judge whether your words and your deeds are consistent. I tell you to judge people? I ask. Not in those words. He reassures me. You always caution me to judge not lest I be judged. But you have also counseled me that a worthy man is his only true and harshest judge. Have I? That sounds like something I'd say, because it sounds like something the master would say. You never speak about your education. Maybe that is for the better. Education can be a dangerous thing, depending on your teacher. He looks at me now, his eyes as matter of fact as his voice. There's no threat there. There's a question which I can't decipher, which I don't want to decipher, because I'm lying if I say I don't know what he wants to know. That's always been true. I shrug. It could get you killed. Affiliation with the wrong teachers. Aryans, Jews, Muslims. I'm not Aryan, Jewish, or Muslim. I laugh. And I have had many teachers. Maybe all of them. Are you fishing or something? I know you're not. I was just thinking aloud. Trying to understand. But I can't really know you, can I? You talk a lot about the absence, about the notness. Do I? You say that you can prove something by its absence. How is it you say it? Absence of evidence is not evidence of an absence of proof. Something like that. Do I? I'm incredulous. I gotta write this shit down. All the time, Giorgio affirms. Well, obviously I'm right, but please remind me of more of my wisdom. He chuckles. I only mean to say that I do not feel like I really know you. I believe, because of what I've seen and what I've heard, that you are good. The things you say, while often difficult to hear, are said with a love of true wisdom, which, as the Lord Jesus teaches us, is often harsh and unforgiving. I guess that's what the crucifixion teaches us. But I would like to know more. I would like to know what has shaped the man before me. If not the truth, why you withhold it from me? It's not cruel. I am not a woman. I don't wonder whether you question my loyalty to you. In short, I snort. Loyalty? To me? What am I? I'm sorry, loyalty? To me? What am I, your king? The only one I'd bow to, he says with a shrug, his face inscrutable in the dark. Now, Joe, I was going to say hyperbole, but he's serious. A great honor, he laughs. I agree. He's trying to be funny, I'm certain of it. It should be funny to me. I get it. Genovese bow for no crown and scepter. I'm not laughing, because I'm trying to decide whether I think he knows about Francis's offer or not. It's not much of a decision, so what if he does? I can't know. I can't know till I know, and I don't know if I want to find out. Flattering, I say, twisting my lips. I would like to know you better. Will you tell me of them? Your parents, your upbringing, your teachers. What brought you to Genova? I frowned at him at the intrusion. I do want to know what you plan with Genova. Who are you? Who are you, her brother? I start to scoff. Then I realize that if he's not her husband, he is her lover and her champion, just like in a lay of Arthur, like those of Marie de France. No wonder people crowd around to hear the songs. We always search a place far away and a long time ago for the answers to our problems, or an escape from them. Likely we always will. And I choke. But that is not why I would know you, Giorgio says. You are my friend. I would like to hear your story from your lips, for myself, if only so I might tell it truly. He smiles. Does he mean his reasons or his own? Or that he's been hearing it elsewhere? Of course he has. He said as much. He's not been opaque. Then why do I feel like the one who's see-through? Honestly, Joe, I say, I don't remember them. But you do remember them. You always tell a lie after opening with honestly. Everyone does. I deflect. No, I think it's just you. I meet his eyes. They're almost bored. He's not going to drop this. I wasn't lying outright, all right? I really can't remember their faces. I was too young the last time I saw them. And I guess that's the kind of thing remembering never really helps with anything, is it? Isn't it? If remembering just makes you sad, it's better to forget, isn't it? I'm not sure that thinking about my child really does just make me sad. I don't do it anymore. I haven't in a long time. But I think I can remember thinking that as a kid, that it just makes me sad, that it would be better to forget. I was never going back. You really don't remember your mother's face? Giorgio asks. He's not appalled. This is unthinkable for him. His mother is his world. But he does sound sad for me. The question sends a chill down my spine that has nothing to do with the question. I shrug it off. I don't want to talk about it. That's the why I don't ask. He's still bored. Still matter of fact. I can't tell. I can tell you don't want to talk about it. That's all right. You aren't exactly, Francesca, huh? Straightforward, I mean. Forthcoming, huh? With your past, your feelings. You want to keep everything to yourself. Like you think you can solve everything by yourself. Is that what you think about me? I ask. That I'm in here trying to solve the world's problems. That I have something to hide. Ah. Giorgio voices his disagreement, while also pushing out the last of his smoke and discarding it somewhere in the dark. That is more like you think I said you are not open. I did not say apertura. I said franchezza. You think I close myself off from people, keep myself at a distance. His face flinches around the mouth and eyes. like he's trying words in his mouth he doesn't like the taste of. Not to that. Listen to what I'm saying. You are not unfriendly, unkind. People like you when you allow them to know you. You are not physically intimidating. They are not afraid to approach you. They are unsure. For me, you are like a book which I have not read by an author which I do not know in a language with which I am uncomfortable. You could touch me. You could touch me much. But what I have that you want, and how will I be changed, forever marked, is different by your association. Listen, what you are is difficult to know, what to do with, or to make of, and the things you do want to talk about, and what details of yourself you are willing to volunteer once we have approached. If I may mix my metaphors, or a winding path up a cliff face in an ice storm, my friend. I enjoy your stories and our talks, of course I do. I am here 4 days a week, more sometimes, but oftentimes, yes, you take me to beautiful, wonderful places of the mind and the past, which I could not otherwise go to. Other times you take me to bleak, blasted landscapes of dread and despair in which no life thrives. Thanks. My hand drifts to my breast pocket. This is difficult. Giorgio frowns. Yes, I agree. It is. That's why I don't do it anymore. That's why I stay in here and let people come to me. No one wants to be described, least of all accurately. That's why I only do it for people who pay. I am, in fact, gentler with people who can't. Giorgio gives me a look like he didn't know this. I am trying to tell you that you could make this easier for me, for us, Genova. He laughs. Not that it could be easier to be your friend, but you could make it easier to know and love you, our favorite son. I let the hyperbole of that line run off my back like sweat down my crack, unwilling to consider it for even a second, no matter how unpleasant it feels, nor how badly I want to react. Why would I do that? He gives me a look that reads naked incredulity. He blinks, frowns, his mouth works. I meet it, almost defiantly. Why would I care what they think of me? If they have not taken the time to get to know me, what do I care of what they think? My heart is pounding. I should not have said this. Not aloud. Not to Giorgio. You are a leader in Genova, Robert. He sounds hurt. I scoff outright. If you say so. I mutter. You just said that. Because I am how I am. People are doomed to not follow me. I point out, walking around the desk. To fall off, he corrects me. Except the dedicated, and they will cling on with you. You are a treasure, my friend. Just because I have not made it inside that fortress which you call a heart does not mean... A destination is made by its journey, is it not, my friend? I am enjoying walking with you. Glad to hear that, I say, but I'm pretty sure these people hate me. What? How can you say that? The Genovese love you. We made you rich. I look at Giorgio for a long moment, remembering the ugly thoughts my heart responded with when Francis made a similar claim, and how I felt about myself after. Those are two different things, I say, sparking another drag and moog. How so? They seem the same to me. The city would not vest its wealth with you if you were not beloved. How that is so is because that equation is wrong, I say. Giorgio gives me a look. Maybe they don't hate me. I allowed. Hate is an awful strong emotion to spend on someone like me. Someone like you? You mean the foreign eccentric? Exactly. And the prophet. He points out. This isn't asked. It's stated. Giorgio's eyes swim with wonder, or intoxicants, or both. Not that, but it's what I was working to. He nods. I was waiting for that before I spoke more. If they don't hate me, then they can't love me. That means they fear me, which is why they've made my wife rich. This raises eyebrows. And I've already had this argument one more time this week than I'd meant to have my whole life. They think I know their secrets. I shrug. They want to keep me happy and quiet and out of the way. Isn't that why you're here? On a mission from your father, no doubt. You've heard Francis's plan? Francis's plan? Giorgio asks. No, I'm not here for my father. Unless you mean... I sniff an outright disbelieving scoff. Francis offered to make me king in Genova if I won it. Don't tell me you don't know that. Giorgio blinks like he's having trouble connecting ideas to one another, like he hadn't thought about this before. I did and would not say that. I did know, or I had heard about it. My father warned me about something like that. Something like that? I asked. What does that mean? He warned me that Francis was up to something and that you should visit me before Francis can convince me, either to make sure you're grandfathered into whatever is happening or to convince me to be your pet wizard. By the look on his face, my words are a slap across Giorgio's cheek. His mouth falls open and hurt, but it's his eyes that confuse me. They're wide, but with confusion, like he isn't sure what I'm saying or what he wants to be saying, which is not what I expected. It's not what I've come to expect from Giorgio, period. Are you investigating me? I demand before he can articulate his feelings. You? He's frowning still. Why would I? No, Robert, no, I'm not investigating you. Then none of what I said is true, I say, shrugging like that's an apology. I feel strangely as calm as I sound. Turns out I was right. It really was only a matter of time. I don't know what the history is between these two. I didn't ask, didn't want to know, and never learned. But here I find myself between them anyway. I should have already left. Why am I not making plans to leave right now? Robert. Giorgio pulls my attention back to him and the hurt in his face. I told him no, Giorgio. This appears to befuddle him most of all. Why? What does it matter? I snarl. I said no. I'm here to convince you to say yes, Giorgio says in that strange, matter-of-fact tone he's been adopting. My eyes narrow. You're what? I ask like I didn't hear him right. He blinks, tilts his head like he's surprised I could have misheard, shrugs. I said I'm curious, I suppose. Isn't it every little boy's dream to be king? Someday, I say under my breath, almost under my breath, but not like this. I shake my head free of the whimsy which said these things. In a grown-up's voice, I declare, maybe, but I am a boy no longer. That's why only boys want to be king? Yes. No, because these people don't want me as their king. They don't even know what it means. A king is he's the marriage of the divine and the heroic in a human male body. He's done something, proven himself somehow. He's seen the Godhead. These people don't want me to be king. They want to be free of the taxes of Rome and the East. They want to be able to say that their destiny is theirs to direct, and not be lying to themselves. But a king? I can't give them that. If they feel anything toward me, because we agree they wouldn't waste hatred on me, they're afraid of me. I don't think that's true, Giorgio muses, tossing his finished moog into the darkness, and meeting and holding my gaze. I think people just don't know you because you don't talk about yourself. So they don't know what all you have done for them. I laugh, a bitter bark. Talking about yourself is a perfect way to make people think you're either a liar or a fool or both. If you do it too much, he agrees. Not doing it at all is how people only know about you what they tell one another. I glare at Giorgio now. I want to challenge him on this. I want to ask him what he's telling people about me, what people are telling him about me. But I don't want to know. I want to leave, to run, to get away. If you're dropping a hint, I say, I'm not sure I'm picking it up. In fact, I'm positive I'm not. Only a fool is positive. Giorgio says. I look up at him. What? Only a fool is positive. That's something you say all the time. Is it? Are you sure, Giorgio? He laughs. Yes, I'm sure. You do this every time. You're trying to get me to say I'm positive so you can make me feel like a fool. That sounds like something I would do. Why can't I recall ever doing it? Then it's true about Francis and you. What is true? I ask. I thought you weren't investigating me. What have you heard? And who told you? Giorgio's eyes swim with irreality. That's the word, I think. Irreality. Like this isn't really happening. Or that's not really Giorgio in there. The priest, he says in a dreamy voice. told me that you and Francis were conspiring to liberate Genova. He told me that this is God's plan for you, that you are meant to stay here in Genova, that if you would not be king, you would be the greatest son Genova has ever produced. And that is his plan for me as well. God's plan, not the priest's. I asked, it's God's plan for me to be always at your side, your best friend and brother. He said it's my destiny to repay my 30 pieces of silver. I shudder. I don't know what that means. But I do know this isn't Giorgio. This isn't like Giorgio. To right the wrongs of the past. That's what he said. He said you would make my city the most powerful and glorious city in the whole world, and that I will make it the most righteous. Giorgio's face glows with a strange mixture of pride and wonder, and something else in the flickering light of the Agni spirits dancing atop their tallow candles. Tallow candles which are nearly burnt out. Something like hope, I think. Probably the hope I will agree with his priest's prophecy. I am glowering at the space between the candles just below where Giorgio's face will distract from the middle distance. I know I'm cloaked in shadow and that my face must be a mystery to him, speaking of things which are only a matter of time. Priest, I ask, what priest has an interest in God's plan for me? I do not know him, Giorgio says. I have looked up to his eyes now and I believe their sincerity. Never believe anyone who tells you things like, the eyes are the windows of the soul, or you can tell a liar by their eyes, etc. Tells you, by the way. They aren't liars, but they are facile thinkers who want you to think they're profound. That said, the eyes really do communicate so much more than we would like them to. It requires years, a lifetime, of training to hide your secret thoughts behind your eyes, or for one of them to be born without whatever the soul is which the eyes look into. Luckily for liars, sociopaths, and people who say, you too, instead of thank you, when they're told to enjoy a meal or a bed or a whatever. It also takes a lifetime of experience and training to read the visible secrets written in our eyes. It's like if you were pulling your panties. It's like if you were putting your panties out to dry in the window and no one but that one old perv you hate knows it means you want the sexy times. And even then, in the case of those human monsters which stalk among us, those dreaded and dreadful insurance salespeople, psychologists, and journalists, the nothing behind their eyes is still indicative of the kind of person you're dealing with. Giorgio is confused now. His gaze is drifted from mine, back to the memory of when and wherever the meeting with this priest took place. I did not see his face. He is saying, in fact, I should not be saying he was a priest. I knew that he was a priest, but from his bearing, I guess I knew it. But it must have been an understanding. Do you know what I mean? The difference? Because he didn't look like a priest. Well, not really. Not like any priest I'd ever seen. It's hard to say. It's hard to remember. He wore a long black robe with a hood over his head. I'd never seen the chasuble with a hood on it, like that. All one solid piece. I didn't think anything strange about it at the time. It's Count DiMaggio. He was probably out strolling for blasphemy, too. That's what I thought. Because I knew he was a priest. This makes my eyes bug a little. A tendril of cold, decidedly not a bead of sweat, ascends my spine like an unwanted caress. I shoot to my feet. I'm panting, near panic. I was doing what I always do. Giorgio's eyes drift to me. His frown is slow, but he keeps talking. Except it was... When was it? Was it yesterday? No, that doesn't make any sense. Why would I have waited a full day to come see you? It must have been today before. But I don't remember today before. I'm standing, my legs quivering beneath me, My hands are slick with terror sweat. I feel like a cloud of darkness has wrapped arms around me in an uncanny, dreadful embrace, and I can't move, can't stop myself from staring, from watching Giorgio's struggle to remember his priest. I've seen someone like that once. 9 someones like that. They called themselves the Ennead, the Demiurgoi Demiurgon, the creators of creators, the circle which reside at the center of the Skoleo Demiurgoi. Dressed in black robes from head to foot, only moments before they betrayed me and my life took the turn it has. I feel like a cloud of darkness has wrapped arms around me in an uncanny, dreadful embrace. I've never felt anything like this, though, not even in their presence. There were men and maybe women under those robes. The thing is, I didn't see his face either. Giorgio is still talking. I'm looking around like there's another means of escape besides the one door. The windows are and have been boarded up. The mouth of his hood. My memory is all a black there, like there was nothing in the hood. But that's not possible, is it? They're a strange thing, memories. I try to keep the gulping of my bone-dry throat invisible. I couldn't sit back down now if I wanted to. Giorgio's eyes are locked on mine, and they are well and truly afraid. He told me that God wanted me to convince you to stay in Genova. He said that if you refuse it or if I failed, the next time we will meet, it will be as enemies, and forever after, for all of time, as it has been since the beginning. What did he mean by that, Robert? What have you gotten me into? There is no accusation there, but I hear it. The fear, the doubt, the second-guessing. More than I should have, friend. I admit to myself, I should have already left. Robert? Giorgio's voice is confused, but his, in a way it wasn't before, in which I couldn't articulate if I had all the words in the world, and all the time. Yes, Giorgio? I ask, looking down at him, and feeling decidedly like an idiot at the moment. What are you doing? What were we talking about? This is it. Slamming open the top left drawer of my desk, I grab up as many drag as I can pinch in my fingers. These I unceremoniously fit into the breast pocket, not unlike, I think, the youths and maidens in their faded pairs, crammed in the boat on their way to Knossos and King Midas in Crete. Let's get the fuck out of here, I say. What do you say? By the time he reacts, which is to say whips his head around and turns almost 180 degrees in the chair, I'm already halfway to the door, and feeling like there are reaching, caressing tendrils of cold reaching from my heels. End chapter 14. I'm going to take a little break. If you'd like to praise me, now is the time. I just want to say, for the record, for anybody who doesn't know, this is a fucking masterpiece. This is a true masterpiece, because I know things you guys don't know. And there is an absolutely absurd amount of foreshadowing and meta-narrative happening.
repeat reads of this, even if you just start here, read the first episode, and then read this one again, just the repeat readability of this scene, this chapter, this episode on its own. This one is repeat readable for the rest of your life. You'll find shit in it for the rest of your life. You can just sit and ask, why did Shaggy put those quotes, those 3 quotes? Why were those 3 quotes in it? And you can read that. You can read the rest of the novel just to figure out why those 3 quotes were necessary for the rest of your life. You can spend the rest of your life reading this episode to ask yourself, why these design choices? This is a masterpiece. This is the kind of shit I want to read. This is the kind of meta-narrative and mystery, frankly, the kind of story that I want to read, that really requires you to pay a fucking attention. Pay attention to what the fuck is happening. Every word matters. There is not a word of that could have been cut out. It's not about brevity. It's perfectly brief. Sorry, I'm going to praise it myself because I'm sure that none of you is a literary person, a person who cares deeply about the craft of literature. That is a literary masterpiece. Pay attention. Rob has to pay attention. If you don't pay attention, the story is just going to happen to you the way it happened to him. Happened to him. Oh, what am I trying to charge? My smoke. Thank you, Vincent. Fucking stupid prick. Okay. I'm gonna need to pee soon. Now that I've commented, do you have anything that you would like to say, Rach, or anybody else who's been listening? I'm not a give me your theories guy. Thank you for that, Rach. The prose is really good. The prose, just the writing, just the way it was written is so exceptionally good. So beautifully paced and cadenced, just in. Never gotten this far with Joe? No, this is actually, it might be missing a scene with Joe. We're going to see if I edited it, or if I just cut this scene out because I just couldn't figure out how to segue to it. Writing Rob is editing dreams together. Editing dreams that aren't always in sequence. Nope. Not a car. Too bad it looks comfortable for you. You are not invited. Yeah, none of those things, Chill. An effort was made and it was bad. You suck at things. You aren't good at basic things. Well, you just invited yourself, you fucking asshole. You are the emotional whiplash of the insecure narcissist. You're not even good at being a narcissist. Imagine being so bad at everything that you're not even good at being self-absorbed. Facile means shallow, yeah. Shallow, simple, entry level.
It's the same FAC, it's the same FAC as facsimile. Facile really means shallow, but Moog plural is Mugen, MWGYN, Mugen. Moog is singular and Mugen is plural. So smoke and smokes. It's Welsh. Cymru, technically. Welsh is an epithet that means slave or foreigner, I think. I think it means foreigner. Yeah? You love the throwing in the languages that they're speaking in? So they're speaking, right, something that I noticed in the manuscript, he doesn't say outright that they're speaking Genovese Italian, right? They're speaking the Genovese dialect. So where Giorgio chooses, where I chose to have Giorgio insist on a particular Italian word and not its simile in Italian, was I did that deliberately because they're speaking Italian, and quibbling between Italian words makes more sense than to quibble over English words because they're not speaking English. English doesn't exist. Oh, the Moog. Do you remember the conversation with Francis where he was explaining he explained that the Jain people of India believe that every fire is the god Agni. It is his spirit living and dying, and so the he dances himself to death. It's a foreshadowing of the dancing disease that will come in like the 13th century to this region of the world. So thank you for loving that. It's a detail for those who know supernatural stories from the Middle Ages. It's a forward reference. But yeah, those kinds of references are mythological and religious. And so so if you go back and read Francis, and then you see this explaining the Agni, and then every time he describes his drag means dragon. Drag means dragon, and so his matches, they're matches, just like he explains how matches were actually invented 1,000 years or 600 years, closer to like 800 years later. He describes how they were invented because that's how they were actually invented. He just takes credit for it. Because it's true that I think it was 18th century, it might have been the 1600s, but I think it was in the 1700s that an English scientist and an inventor and chemist, alchemist, part-time, because you didn't do this stuff professionally. If you were rich, you just did this stuff like Rob is doing it. You just dabbled in whatever there was to do. Went to China, and in China they were using sulfur on sticks, and then you would catch those on fire, and they were convenient for transferring fire around. And then Rob accidentally found white phosphorus. You add white phosphorus to sulfur, and you have a strike anywhere match. What you also have, though, is very, very serious jaw cancers. So everything that Rob is doing is a carcinogen. That's a hint in its own. That's a hint. Everything he's doing will drop him dead before his 30s. And he knows this. He knows. White phosphorus will eat the bones of your jaw. It'll eat your bones out of your face. Coke drinkers, Coca-Cola, the phosphoric acid will eat the bones of your face if you drink too much of it. It's a very real and chronic illness in Atlanta, Georgia. And then they stopped doing the white phosphorus. It might be the other phosphorus, but I think it's white phosphorus. They stopped doing phosphorus strike anywhere matches because they were giving people cancers of the face. Just being around the burning white, so the burning white phosphorus was giving people cancers of the face and eating the bones right out of their face. Fossy jaw, yeah, fossy jaw. They were getting cancers from the smoking, but yeah, it was the phosphorus was eating their jaw just from being around the matches, just the matches. And they figured it out real quick. They knew exactly what was going on because the people, like the radium girls, the people mining the white phosphorus, they found white phosphorus mines or whatever. I don't really know the specifics, but the people that were responsible for refining and making the white phosphorus, they were rotting away there. So the industry execs that today we would blow whistles and take to take to Supreme Court trials, they knew what was going on. Yeah, they knew very fast what was happening, and so yeah, they fixed that real quick. But that's why strike anywhere matches today are very rare because they were killing people all over the world for a very long time. Maybe not a very long time, but they were very quickly, is what I'm trying to say. And people, we knew it was happening, but we were happy to have the Agni spirit, and that's why Rob meditates on it. That the ease. Yeah. There's phosphorus on the strike pad. That's correct. The strike pad is phosphorus. That is correct. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that white phosphorus also tastes good, and that it creates an addiction loop in the brain. I'm not 100% sure on that. I have not refreshed my memory on this in 3 or 4 years, but every year I was annually refreshing my memory on this so I could just write this stuff without having to look at my notes. I researched this for about a decade of my life regularly to make sure that the information didn't change on me after I published. Because that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing to every author, but it would be so embarrassing to me if I spent all this time, I got this all in my head memorized, and then it changed. Yeah, you used to eat burnt match heads. That's what I was telling you. That's normal. I was telling you that. It's normal, and that you probably had a sulfur deficiency. You probably needed to eat more eggs. And thank you for indulging me on that. I'm going to eventually be able to hit this again. It's clogged and very, very cold in here. Rich, please don't. Please don't. Please don't be one of those people who eats clay and dirt and other food safe, typically non-edible materials. The edible clay is supposed to actually be really tasty, and just please don't be one of those people. I love you, and I just really don't want to think you're a stupid person. God, I shouldn't even have given you the idea. Yeah, it was a fun exchange. I'm going to continue now. I've got 30 minutes. I would like to finish. This is a very long. I told you it was very long. It's published. The title is Novella. I was trying to make when I went back through, I decided I was going to make every scene a novel and word length because they justify it. Okay. Chapter 15. I'd been in Genoa a week. So for those who are slow on the uptake, we've moved backward in time. I was sleeping in and spending most of my time at the tavern, in large part because that was my only choice, and the tavern master seemed to appreciate the company. And it was by the docks, port, harbor, whatever. I didn't know and never bothered to learn the proper nomenclature where I could get something to eat besides his appalling cooking. Also, I liked him. He seemed like a good dude. A little lonely, maybe, but a good dude. It had been a difficult fortnight for me. I was enjoying the downtime. That last 6 days, though. Not least of which because I spent the first 5 of those days trying not to die of separation from my opium supply. If you remember from chapter 1, just real quick, it had been a difficult fortnight for me. If you remember chapter 1, you know what he's talking about. Anyway. I mean, I also faked my death 2 weeks ago, so not the most difficult week of my life by any stretch. That was 5 years ago. But it was up there. Time has, for a while now, been meaningless to me. But since I'd been in Genova, the days felt like they had meaning, and I slept the nights away with only what bad dreams and terrors I'd expected. I was and had been doing nothing for some while when a young woman entered the tavern, crossed through the beams of light entering the squarish holes in the wall through the alley and the building next door, if you could call it light, and lowered herself to a chair in the back of the room as noiselessly as a ghost. Oh, Rach, I wish that you guys could see the prose of the coming race, which we're going to transition to immediately after we finish this chapter. I wish you could see the prose, but Rach can confirm or deny. But each of these last paragraphs has all been basically one long sentence. He has transitioned into a thoroughly 19th century prosaic style, and it's awesome to read. It's awesome. It is so much better. So much better in their own style, even than the best in the 19th century. This is so good. Sorry. I was and had been doing nothing for some time. Moving on. This would catch my attention anyway. All young men, it seems, have an inexhaustible amount of attention to give to pretty girls. And this one had coppery auburn hair to go along with her other girl parts. I can't really see anything else besides her plain dress and delicate fingers wrapped over her mouth. But I was also interested, because this was unusual. In 7 days I had seen only the tavern master in here, not even his wife. It wasn't a holy day, and this girl wasn't dressed like she was on pilgrimage. She was also crying, I realized. Quiet little terror tremors shook her shoulders. I probably should have picked up on that from how her face was in her hands. I watched, sure that her and whatever was going on with her were none of my business, until a big man, tall and slim, filled the doorway with his silhouette. I stood, guessing rightly that the man meant to go to the girl. I intercepted him at her table, really a few pieces of wood laid across a sawhorse. I'm sorry, do you know her? As my eyes met Giorgio's friendly, handsome smile for the first time, in the gloomy light of a Romanesque tavern, the girl looked between us. Whatever distress she was in, she is in, no more. Her eyes were big and bright and quite pleased all of a sudden with her situation. Every young woman, it seems, enjoys when 2 men fight over her. I rolled my eyes. He could have her. She'd want him to win, and I thought he was why she was crying. I shouldn't have got involved. Actually, no. That's not what Giorgio sounds like. How was I doing his... I got stoned enough that I forgot how I was doing Giorgio's voice, and I'm very sorry for that. I'm an Italian guy. Okay, here we go. Actually, no, Giorgio admitted. His voice was as professional as a lifelong senator. I was immediately impressed. I had turned to leave, but turned back to give him my full attention. He was both the first Genovese and most Genovese person I will meet. Moving around the board to take a seat at her left, he indicated I should take the seat at her right. This lady and I have only just met, but you, I've heard of you, and I suspected she might make use of your help. Me? I asked. dumbly doing as indicated. My help? What have you heard of me? I was too surprised to have my hackles raised. I'd completely forgotten about the girl already. You are the one who was telling fortunes in the market yesterday for coin. Am I wrong? I wasn't telling fortunes, and I wasn't doing it for money. I was guessing people's ages and things of that nature, for the fun of it, nothing illegal, and I was already quibbling with this stranger. I'm not here to bother for you. I'm not here to bother you for it. This young lady needs the help of a man, maybe two of them, and you appear to be the only person in Genova who isn't otherwise preoccupied. He gave me a meaningful look which asked whether I was unafraid of violence. I nodded, the first of how many lies I would allow him to believe of me. May as well, right? She's pretty enough. I met her hopeful stare. Help a pretty girl in need? Hell, I can make a career out of that. As it turns out, her problem was pretty straightforward, with one bend. The girl was the daughter of a moderately accomplished lute player, and she was pretty good herself. Modest, too. She lived in a town nearby with her mother. Her father went away 5 years prior, hadn't shown up since. Her mother didn't love it, her working in Genoa, but now that the girl's grown, she wanted to make her own living. Not unusual for the only daughter of an artist, I noted. She didn't say it, but I wouldn't be surprised if she hoped to discover her father's legend so she could learn who he was, and in her way, find herself, all the while forgetting her mother, ignoring her father's legacy and thus dooming her to repeat it. I didn't ask, but I'd read a story before. She didn't seem receptive to the suggestion she stay home after the next part anyway. A man offered to house and feed her here in the city as well as pay her a wage if she would teach his daughter to play the lute. He agreed. Then, after some time, a friend of the man asked him, violently, to wed her. Those men fought. The friend left. Her employer begged her to stay on, offered her more money. She agreed, but would stay in the house no longer. She missed her mother. With the money she'd already made and expecting more in turn, she bought a donkey. She rode it to and from by this point. The daughter, she insisted, was too much of a joy to be away from. Her problem, and why I was hidden behind a copse of trees just before a bend in the road approaching Genova later last week, was that someone with a beard riding a donkey has been following her home and then disappearing when she went around the bend, like they were never behind her. And she doesn't know a man with a beard. It seemed disconnected and unimportant to me, too, but I really was otherwise unpreoccupied. At first glance, it seemed like the quarreling men she knew had nothing to do, with whatever this is. Beards aren't exactly easy to fake, but at the distance she says he's following her, something like 100 yards, I think she said, it wouldn't be too hard to pass off. And right on cue, there she was, a pretty, coppery, auburn-haired girl on a donkey, and behind her a man with a reddish beard riding a donkey of his own. He maintained a distance of about 20 yards between them. Her error wasn't suspicious, and I realized my error when she disappeared from my view around the bend. That really was a remarkably bad job you did, Giorgio was telling me in the tavern later that night. But what were you going to do on foot about the man on the donkey from 100 yards away? Yeah, I guess I don't know what I was thinking. So she tried to turn around and he just rode off. I shrugged. I'm really not sure she's in danger. Maybe it's just her father with the reddish beard. And he runs from her. I don't know. I wasn't concerned to admit. Maybe he's ashamed for her to see him this way. I don't think so. It's probably her benefactor's friend. Let's pay him a visit. What do you say? A friend? I asked stupidly. We don't know where to find him. The benefactor, he corrects me, his voice altogether different. His stare already wherever he's taking me. Let's go. It was the dark of night. It occurred to me that I don't know why we didn't wait until light, tomorrow, when Giorgio handed me a fighting cane. His own was decorated and reinforced with swirling bands of iron. All right, then. It's going to be that sort of night. I shouldn't be here. I was absolutely certain This is the dumbest thing I'd ever done. Then there was a scream from inside the house. I was aware of loud banging noises, the splintering of wood, and the pounding of my heart. Then I was in the house of a rich man, running through unfamiliar halls to the sounds of a struggle and a young woman screaming. We, Giorgio and I, found them eventually. My feet turned to leave at the sight of the two men wrestling on the floor. The girl was watching them with terrified eyes and a mouth that wouldn't stop screaming. I hesitated, afraid of the violence. Giorgio didn't hesitate. And I know this is the wrong way to say it, but like a slugger killing a ball from a tree, Giorgio caught the man winning the tussle with a horizontal swing of his stick right as the man looked up at our entrance. The stick shattered across his nose and orbital sockets, more than likely crushing both. He went down as hard and fast as I'd ever seen, dead weighting in a fountain of blood on top of his adversary. Giorgio's naked foot Giorgio's naked foot kicks the other man in the temple, twice, for good measure, although he'd already jerked stiff and still with the first one. He took the girl by the arm, asked if she was all right. I could only watch, horrified, feeling as useless as I'd ever felt, even more useless than the times I'd watch Al-Shamshir and his men defend our cart from armed bandits. What would I have done against men with steel and flying arrows? I was just a boy. I wasn't a boy anymore. Giorgio's voice was remarkably calm. He was pushing the girl into my arms and us both out of the room. I let him, because that was easier than thinking. He was telling me to get her to safety. I didn't ask what he was going to do. I just got the hell out of there. I didn't want to know. We would compare our postscripts in a few days when I'd returned. The girl's mother made me stay with them overnight and wouldn't let me leave until I'd eaten what I was sure was all of the food in their house. But she was happy, the girl's mother. And the girl seemed to be as fine as she could be. I almost felt like she was recovering better than I was. Maybe her mother knew that. I don't know. I know I didn't sleep much, but I never sleep much in a new place. Bandits and all. Considering her father, as she learned and would tell me, he was dead. He had come into some treasure and these men wanted it. The details didn't and don't matter. The whole thing is just bad men being bad. The treasure was evidently locked in such a way that they couldn't get at it. Her father, before his sojourn, left the key to her and made her mother promise not to give it to her until she was married. So those scoundrels were going to force her to marry one of them for the key, and probably kill her too when they were done with her. But the idiots couldn't stop fighting over her. The one thought his affection genuine. Can you believe that? Oh, sorry. So those that's not how he talks. I'm an Italian guy, so those scoundrels were going to force her to marry one of them for the key, and probably kill her too, when they were done with her. But the idiots couldn't stop fighting over her. The one thought his affection genuine. Can you believe that? Genuine summed it all up in the tavern. Neither of us was enjoying the tavern master's piss beer, but we were both sipping it from wooden cups. It's lucky we got there when we did, I said. Giorgio's face darkened. Lucky for her. I'll agree with that. Not so much for them. I did not want to ask, so I didn't. What I don't understand, I offered and said, is why the elaborate scheme? Why not just take the key from the mother? I thought that was what the bearded rider was about. Giorgio mused into his cup. Whatever he saw, I'm glad it was for his eyes alone. Someone trying to follow her home. A third in their company, perhaps. But no. The girl's father was their third, and they, a flutist and a damned sorry singer, killed him. The beard was the benefactor wearing a foxtail over his face. The cowards. The one protecting the girl from the other, but too much the coward to follow her the whole way for fear she would tell a passing stranger he was accosting her, or that she would discover his disguise. Damn idiot. Cowards like that knew that they together would be overmatched by the single mother of a girl child. and they knew couldn't cooperate in, so they birthed this elaborate scheme to wed the girl and rob her of her inheritance. After robbing her of her family, so they chose to abduct the girl and use her for ransom. Got greedy. Giorgio's eyes darkened. I didn't need to hear the rest of the story. They wouldn't have wanted the treasure anyway, I mused. Oh, he asked, looking up from his empty cup. What was it? The loot. Neither of us laughed. It is kind of funny, though. We'd laugh later. This was only the first of our many adventures over the next 2 years. He's a great lover of helping women in need of a man's violence, and I guess I was a great lover of my time spent with him. We never discussed what he did with those men. I never saw them again, but I'd never seen them before to begin with. I heard there was a fire around that night. Could be a coincidence, but someone's house burned down. It didn't belong to someone anyone missed. That's what justice is like. And for me, Giorgio embodied it. There was a reason Machiavelli's prince is how he is. 15. I light my moog, fanning the open neck of my white linen shirt against the unbearable heat. Giorgio lingered behind me to grab my walking stick, that particular Italian fashion. He's never without his. And if I'm wrong, he'll want to cross them at some point before he parts from me. He always does. And to blow out the candles. I told him it was whatever, but he loves his mother and she loved him when he was a little boy. So he blows out the candles when he leaves an empty room, and if he had one, by golly, he'd put down the toilet seat. It's whatever to me. If the place burned down, it would just give me a good excuse to disappear. The Italian sun beats down on us and all around to the sights and smells of decay. Broken-toothed, slat-eyed buildings in every state of disrepair line the busted cobble street to either side of my office. Mine is the only building anywhere Giorgio or I can see that doesn't look like it's ready to collapse under the assault of a mild wind or a bored teenager. In large part because I had the interior of mine rebuilt so that it wouldn't fall down, and so horny teenagers couldn't get into it when I was away. But also because this is the way of abandonment and urban migration. It hasn't been long enough for too many of them to have also housed conceptions in their afterlives as ruins. I eye Giorgio through slitted lids. It's not even noon yet, the bastard. He's only an inch or two shy of 6 feet, shorter than I by the width of a hand, maybe more. So as much as the span, but he's stronger and more thickly built. Not by a wide margin, but he has an image to keep up. If I do, it isn't my physique. I trade him a moog and drag for my walking stick, then turn and start walking. So, what are we doing? Giorgio asks. You said you enjoyed walking with me, I say over my shoulder. Right? I don't wait for the answer. He's a big boy. He'll keep up if he wants to. And he does, but I'm zoned into my moog, thankful to be away from that great, cloistered darkness which is my office. We are walking, I realize, west, the location of the land of the dead in ancient Sumer. I find myself thinking. I can just hear the sounds of Calendamaggio merrymaking in the city to our left. Giorgio is to my right. Everything that will ever happen has already happened, I say, not really knowing what I'm saying any more than where my feet are taking us. I'm not being fatalist. I could tell you that time is a closed loop, or that we live in God's memories, or something insane like that. I could tell you all sorts of things which defy reason and the observation of your senses. They are all true, and that someone has already thought them to their conclusions and taught others to think them to whatever further conclusions they might have. But they aren't real. Not really. If I were the kind of person you say I am, I would be able to convince you that my perspective, the way I view the world, is right. In fact, the only right way to view it. And you would believe me, because I would have trained you to believe me incredulously. Giorgio nods, like a sophist. Not unlike how a sophist might have convinced an Athenian to vote counter to the good of his interests. I agree, but I'm not that. so I haven't tried to. So when I say that everything that will ever happen has already happened, it's because time isn't a loop. If time is anything, I say, struggling to articulate this idea to someone who has never seen or heard of a Cartesian graph, because Rene damn Descartes won't invent it for another 700 fucking years. It's like a piece of thread pulled from an infinite spool. In fact, the spool isn't necessary because the string itself is infinitely long. I know the fates, Giorgio says. Human life is a thread. When it's cut, that's the end. Sure, I say, happy for the interruption to collect my thoughts. But imagine time like a rope made out of all the lives that have ever lived, are living, and will ever live. Where we are on the rope, the people before us and after us, they are only imaginary, meaning we can really only interact and manipulate with them in our minds because of where we are on the rope. But the rope, even the part that's way ahead of us, it's all happening at the same time. I have been miming holding a rope stretched between my palms. When I say this, I push them together and roll an invisible ball with the invisible rope. You can only differentiate the things when you spool out the rope. I mime stretching it back out. These things are metaphors anyway. You say they are ways of viewing the world. No, sorry. These things are metaphors anyway. You say they are ways of viewing the world. None are more valid than any other. Maybe, I agree. Maybe I believe that. Maybe I just say it to make Christians feel better. You're all very sensitive about your faith. It's almost like it and the people its stories are about are from the entire world away and wholly culturally disconnected from you. Like you need a culture hero all your own. But here's the thing. If God has a plan, it's because God can see all of time, all at once, and he knows how he wants things to proceed from us. Giorgio shrugs. He is omniscient and omnipotent. Sure, but that also means that we don't have a choice in what we do. God made us how we are, so that things could remain how they are. So why not lead us then? If you are so ready for change, do you not believe that you are called by God to Genova? If everything that has happened is a part of God's plan, why not accept the gift he has offered you? Because, I think, I've looked in its mouth and its teeth are all rotten. I shudder, not knowing what that means or where it came from. Well, let me ask you, what does it mean to lead someone? To lead anything? I ask. Well, the word lead has two meanings, doesn't it? He says, parsing out the question the way I imagine he imagines I would, and not doing a bad job at all. There's the rope you use to guide a horse. That's called a lead. So metaphorically, leading is dragging. And then there's, how would you define dragging something by compulsion? Going some direction with the expectation that others will be convinced enough to join you. But that comes with all sorts of levels of abstraction at this point, doesn't it? I was using it to mean that when you talk to people, when they ask you to help them with their problems, you should want to do it in a way that they can easily understand the benefit to them, and that you are the reason. I don't mean that you need to be easy to follow. I like the things you're saying, the ideas you're tracking through people's lives, and quite literally, I mean that. How many of our cases together were because you went around telling scary stories and getting people convinced they were haunted or possessed by demons? I'd never really thought about it before, so I do now. More than my fair share, I suspect, is the answer I'm willing to give. He laughs out loud at the understatement. What do you mean? What you mean to say is that I'm difficult to digest, I say, looking at him. He nods in solemn, not mocking or ironic silence. Am I right? Yes. Am I right? Yes. You aren't easy to market. You say a lot. but it does not appear to go anywhere. Or, when it does obviously lead someplace, it's someplace bad, or I guess scary, unpleasant. People don't like unpleasant things, especially if they're also difficult to understand why they're doing them. My lips twist up. Where is this conversation going? I ask him. Literally or metaphorically? Either. Both. Nowhere, I suppose. He shrugs, indicates around us with his open palms. I don't know where we are, not really. We are somewhere in the old town, getting close to the Rigi, the Jewish quarter now, I suppose. Beyond the wall. But where are you taking me? I could not begin to guess. The best I know, everyone left this part of town last year, when we began rebuilding. Where are you going to use this conversation as a vehicle to take me? Again, I cannot begin to guess. When he says we, he means the nobles. And when he says rebuilding, he means they relocated their homes, started building a new cathedral, and moved the market. Right, I say, knowing that. Because I am, or I do seem to be, or we do always hope the person talking to us about something at depth, I'm talking, is going someplace. I stare off into the distance, seeing shadows where the early morning sun isn't casting them. You can't make people follow you, I declare to that darkness. I feel Giorgio's eyes, and am thankful for his silence. That's what the Moses story is about. The exile? He frees his people from bondage at the hands of Pharaoh, right? And what do as soon as they're out of the immediate danger? They thank the wrong gods. Moses couldn't even get them to follow him down the path of righteousness for one day. And that was before they were lost in the desert. They were just across the sea from Pharaoh's drowned army. All that gold they used to make that bull statue? While Moses was on the holy mountain talking to God, God made sure they had time to liberate it, too, from Pharaoh, so they could properly worship him. What the hell, right? So he curses them to wander around in the desert for 40 years. 40 years. 40 years means a few things. First off, it's not literal. Numbers like 40, 70, 47, these are symbolic numbers. They don't always mean the same thing, but they usually mean a category of things. But remember, it's the God cursing them. And for why? Because they worship the wrong idol once or twice? No. 40 years. If you think about 40 years, that's a lifetime, right? How many people make it to 40? Plenty, sure. But how many don't? Plenty more. How many people want to live to 40? 40 years on this earth is an eternity in hell in its own right. Rob, that's awful. He drifts off like he can't think of another word. Heretical? I know. No. Just awful. Well, that's what some of the early Christians believed. May as well call them what the people who hunted them down and murdered them call them. Gnostics. That's how they'll be remembered. For believing that this material creation is the hell we're put in when we die, where we learn to lead good lives or be punished back to suffer, and try and live and die again. Why don't I know about them, these Gnostikoi? Because they were systematically hunted down and killed for being gloomy assholes, I say. Then I laugh. That was a joke, and not true, but not altogether untrue. The world of the first few centuries after Caesar Augustus were pretty gloomy. The empire didn't need gloomy assholes going around convincing people the only good life was a short one. Anyway, Moses never gets them out of the desert. God relents ultimately. I guess the idea is that if he gives them a city where he can be immediately present, he can take all the credit for its bounty. But he never gets that either. So he punishes them with invasion after invasion, exile, and ultimately diaspora. But that's what happens when God's plan is written and understood after the fact. Of course, the Babylonian invasion was a punishment from God, but his people were still his chosen people. It'd be fucked up if suddenly they weren't a chosen people, they were in exile in a hostile foreign nation. But that's kind of what that book, or those books really, are about. How even God can't make anyone follow him, no matter how easy he makes it. Whatever else they think or feel about me, whoever the people are who think they can help Francis make me king, even if they're men like your father and women like your mother. I give him a meaningful look, implying I mean generally good people with good intentions. They don't want me to be their king because they think I have any divine right. They want to make me king because I'm the only person in town they're afraid of. And if they're afraid of me, their enemies will be too. People are afraid of me because I'm right, not because they believe I can actually talk to gods, but because everyone else is always wrong. Giorgio laughs at this. Do you believe this insane thing you say? I make a noise like I'm laughing, but I don't feel it. That I'm always right? I ask, and shrug, not waiting for an answer for even a second. How do I articulate what it was like with the master? Always being wrong, never being right enough. I don't know, but I know I can't try with Giorgio, not outside my office. No, I think that I know enough, pay enough attention to detail, and care enough to hate being wrong, that's all. I prefer to only speak what I know to be true. I find the quality in a king, Giorgio notes, but not one I actually possess. A paralytic quality, I mumbled. You can't speak to the qualities of a king anyway. You don't even know what the word means. Don't I? Do you? A king is the ruler of a kingdom. Right. I roll my eyes. And a kingdom is a country ruled over by a king. Sure, fine. But what makes a king a king? I ask. He's appointed by his nobles. That's how we do it in Christendom ever since Charlemagne. Giorgio is strangely proud of this. I suppose if I identified as a Christian, I would identify with the progress Christendom has made, too. Sure, I agree. But these aren't really kings we're talking about, are they? Kings rule by divine right. They're chosen by a god and rule in the god's stead with their authority. In the ancientest days, it required at least 2/3 divine parentage to sit atop a throne and occupies the god's marriage bed. This is a phrase I can see Giorgio has no frame of reference to understand. I'm not sure I do either. The Gilgamesh myth is in my head somewhere, but it doesn't live at the fingertips of my recall like it might if I'd read it with an educated person's interest recently. As far as I knew, I hadn't read or thought about it in something like a decade or more. There are no Christian kings, men with no divinity whatever playing at war and at statecraft. That's what the Christian kings are. When they aren't literally insane people and children. Giorgio doesn't react, but I'm talking about the monarchs of East and West Francia. Look it up. It won't be for decades, maybe centuries, that Christendom finds a real king again, and by then it won't matter. Why won't it matter? Giorgio asks sincerely. Christendom is too big for one king. Even Genovese independence won't be for another 100 years, even if you outwardly began declaring it for yourself last week. I can feel in his silence that he wants me to expound. I don't want to. I don't know why I'm talking about this. I don't actually know what I'm saying. All I know is I'm nobody. All I know is I'm nobody's king, and I need Giorgio to agree with me. I need him to understand. You don't understand, I lament. It's still going to take 100 years for Genova to liberate herself from her neighbors, even after you're free of East Rome. That part will be relatively easy. Their hands are pretty full. Genova has to cost them more than she makes them in taxes. Why 100 years? Giorgio asks. Because that's how long these things take. I laugh. I'm no Sargon, no Charlemagne. What does that mean? It means I'm not actually Gilgamesh. They were both born to wealth and power. It was their birthright to command men in battle. That is not how leadership works. You are not born to it. How not? I ask. How so? Fighting men follow the biggest flag to where the fighting is. I say with a shrug. Robert, do you really believe that? He's giving me a look that says if I answer in the affirmative, he's going to reconsider our whole friendship. No, it's a betrayal of LONGSHORE and all he taught me to say it at all. Giorgio is waiting for an answer, looking at me like I'm being deliberately stupid. Yes, turns out I am. That's not true, and you know it. Fighting men follow the person who will take them where their lives won't be wasted and will be improved. What do you know of fighting men? I ask. I'll have you know I train with my father's soldiers every day. A man must do something with his time, and soon they will be my men. It would be if I would lead. If I would effectively lead them, I must be seen among and alongside them, but they must also believe that I am what makes the difference in the battle. Do you not read the books you give me? I'd read them. Did I take them all seriously? Did I take any of them seriously? You think you're a warrior, I say. What's that? It's from a quote. Heraclitus. I thought that's what you were talking about. Indeed. Well, what is true is that it is my responsibility to put each of the men and women in my power to their greatest advantage. Why do you look bored? Or like you believe me disingenuous, Rob? I owe this belief to you. You have said similar things to me. Do you simply find me outright false? Yes, Joe, I say, scoffing, and not sure my face was being as incredulous as he thinks. I think you're false. No, it's just the men will not follow me. He rolls his eyes. Why do you think this? Because I will not send them to die, any more than I will lead them to plunder the grave goods of our neighbors, both of which will need to be true of your leaders, if you ever want Genova to be truly great. You speak of peace in an era of Vikings, Magyars, and the decadence of the Carolingian kingdoms. That sounds an awful lot like, you speak like an idiot, to me. I do. Who am I? Shupiluliuma? I don't know who that is. Why do I do this? I know he can't. I was just being funny. Now I have to give a dissertation. He was a Hittite king, I say, like in the Bible. Bingo, buddy. What? His predecessors had basically lost the kingdom to enemies in the north, east, and west, and there was Egypt in the south being a world superpower. Oh, right, I think I see the similarity. Genova has enemies in those directions, and Egypt is indeed to our south. I don't know what the superpower is. I'm guessing Shupiluliuma. I'm guessing he was a conqueror and a unifier? I nod. And as you say, it takes a century for these things. A lifetime of fighting and killing and raping and burning. I affirm. But plunder, he suggests. You would have to change so much and secure so much for the future. You'd need a myth and a hero, and that takes time. I can't just invent it for you. I frown, not realizing, even as I'm saying this, that inventing a mythos for Genova and being their hero are exactly what he's asking me to do, and I'm just telling him no outright just to do it. I'm not even really giving it quality consideration. Things don't change as much as we think they do. I say to the abandoned buildings which just 2 years ago were homes and shops, and ultimately occupied, belying my ability to observe my surroundings. The struggle to survive is too great. Change itself is an enemy of civilization, so when it comes, it appears to be sudden. But it's not. Time isn't a wheel. It's not a closed circle. But life is a mill, crushing and grinding our pitiful human souls for our suffering. But who dips their bread in the oils? That's what I wonder. I can sense Giorgio's horror at my side. I do not look at him. I did not say that for him. I don't think I said it for me either. I'm not sure for whom I did say it, actually. But I do find myself wanting to know the answer, and not just the answer I would get from a priest, the gods, either. If I want anything, I realize, it's to meet a god and ask them myself. But I don't want anything. A good Buddhist doesn't desire. I wanted so badly to be a good Buddhist. If the gods were, I say under my breath, they are no longer. So we don't get to find an answer. I'm not sure, Robert, that we are meant to look for it. Time doesn't actually repeat, I continue, not really hearing him or listening for him, no matter how much it appears to. You might call it rhyming, but it's more like a natural process, like a river carving out a canyon over the course of aeons. You can't go backward, not in time, not in your life. It's not just Rome. One once great world civilization collapsed, leaving only chaos and decadence in its wake. No, China, India, all the world has collapsed in on itself, or is on the brink. Islam seems to be thriving, but give him a century. A man with food in a starving world is a man who will only soon enough be ripped limb from limb for what he could easily have shared but didn't. The world yearns for a culture hero. Too many are asked to be aware of themselves as historical agents. More individuals are alive and aware of themselves as individuals today than at any other time in history, maybe more than all other times in history combined. And it's only getting worse. I do not want to criticize Christianity because the problem is not Christianity. It isn't religion, as you don't and your civilization won't understand it. But Christianity calls its members to realize themselves as images of God. It teaches them to know the impact of their wills upon the world and to turn them inward. And the gods are too far removed from us and too silent when they do bother to speak. There's no longer the backlash there was in the ancient world. Aaron has no need to fear for his sons from his God. Leviticus, right? Giorgio asked. I look over at him. His eyes are his. They don't swim at all anymore, no more than the 3 or 4 Mugen you smoked would make them. Whatever was going on before, it's not going on now. I'm thankful and happy to not think about it anymore. I offer him a small smile, so he's always either been listening to me or paying attention in church. The problem will only worsen, I say. Nations will rise and fall, but as we awaken to ourselves in ever greater numbers, we will cooperate with others less, until we are not satisfied unless every man is a sovereign nation at war with every other, and every home is a defensive rampart with archers who shoot first and ask questions later. Then why not do something about it? Giorgio asks. I can hear the exhaustion in his voice. What would you have me do in the face of the inevitable? Would you stop a thunderstorm? Can you resist a tidal wave? Can you kill death? How would you have me stop the undoing of all things? Even if I were, as you say, people say, do I undo every dying, prevent every betrayal, correct every error, shine the truth on every lie? If I take away everyone's suffering, how will they learn? This last is asked as little more than a whisper. You could show the right way to live. The Bible says that people will follow the example of a righteous God, of a righteous king, and the whole world will follow the righteous city to reap the reward of God. Do you believe that? I ask, knowing he does, thus making the question by definition stupid. Any question you can answer for yourself, the master used to say, giving me that particular disappointed look, is a stupid question. Take to your lessons. Then why, I continue, has there never been a righteous city? Rome was never righteous. Constantinople isn't righteous. All of the righteous cities of the past are of the past. And the stories, too. They're all examples of how not to live the way we do today, not memories of historical people. Giorgio gives me a look, like he thinks I'm just being pessimistic. The answer is because the path is too narrow, too winding, too difficult. Like talking to me, I realize. Even if there were a people in antiquity who were perfect and free of iniquity, we've learned too much evil. We can't go back to that childlike state. All we can do is keep walking forward, making the best of what we've got, and leaving our eyes open to childlike wonder when we can find it. You can't unlearn the utility of lying. We can't misremember the benefice of warfare. All we can do is the best we can do. And for me, that means keeping my neck where my head isn't likely to get chopped off, and my back where it isn't likely to get stabbed. But you could make Genova great again, I scoff. I think you forget that ordinary people are not the same as noble people, as much as you remind me our minds and our lives function differently. The people do not react to you. Oh, sorry. I think that's supposed to be Genova speaking. It is. I think you forget that ordinary people are not the same as noble people. As much as you remind me, our minds and our lives function differently. The people do not react to you the way they do. You are not dangerous to ordinary people in the same way you are to kings and the nobility and the priesthood. Yes, Genova will be rent, very likely, in twain by revolt against Rome in the east. The nobles, the rich, they worry about that. Common people worry that we aren't going to bring the wrath of the gods down on our heads. You could guarantee them that we will not, just by saying the words, whether you believe them or not. You are frightening to people because you are not promising to protect them from the monsters of the dark. My friend, what you think is helping them is telling them how their story will end, supporting the statement like you are defending it before a court which wants your head. The people who come to you for help, who ask you to speak to the gods for them, who ask you to send their prayers to heaven, these people do not want to wait years for wisdom to find their heads from a story they could not understand when you told it. They want you and your wisdom to fix things for them. Right, I say. And I feel like I've already told you I'm not willing to solve people's problems for them. Giorgio blinks at me like I'm being obtuse on purpose. I explain. Plato and Socrates weren't solving people's problems. Socrates died because he wouldn't solve their problems. He taught their children to think differently than they did so they could solve their problems for themselves. I close my eyes, taking a calming breath. Giorgio isn't saying I'm a sophist, and I shouldn't be comparing myself to Socrates. Athens hated that guy, and he died in agony. I don't want me or anyone dying in the floor, puking and shitting themselves to death. Not from hemlock, not from anything, and I prefer not to think about it. Someone else in my position, I say instead, would tell you that 2 years ago the gods or the goddess or maybe even God himself brought us together on Calan Damasio because that's how the gods work. The two things fit together into an apparently seamless narrative, and everyone benefits. That's how storytelling about the gods works. The gods are a motif, a character, even a meta-narrative, all within themselves. What does that mean? It means that when a god enters a story, the listener already has a massive body of ideas and preconceptions about what the god means. So as a teller, the god exists in the story either to receive praise or to give the astute reader pause. I wait for Giorgio to nod, then look at me with eyes narrowed to ask why we're talking about this. If I'm someone else and I say that, I continue, that the gods brought us together to meet some end. Only the gods and perhaps I and maybe you, if you do what I say, know what that purpose is. You'll think I look like I'm really talking for the gods, because I'm evidently giving all the credit to them. And you'll convince yourself that I'm talking with the gods, and that I know better than you about everything, even to your detriment, like everyone in Genova apparently has. All right? So what you're saying is that the people are telling stories out of the school? I really wish he hadn't used that phrase. Not because it means anything, but because it makes me think of the Scaleo. Giorgio's face is dark, and I don't know if he's thinking bad thoughts about me, or about priests, or about authority figures in general, but we're young men. It could be all three and everything else all at the same time. And it could be nothing. He could just be walking at a weird angle to the sun and I'm misperceiving it as emotion to project my own unpreferable feelings someplace. So, I continue looking back to the nowhere we're going. If I were doing this right, you would leave your interactions with me thinking that something special is happening to you too, because of your involvement with me. What if I do? You don't have to do that. I give him a look. He isn't looking at me. What really happened doesn't matter. It was probably just a coincidence, you see. This isn't what I want to talk about, but we haven't talked about it, so we have to talk about it now. This is my fault, I guess. Another person in my position would have you so thoroughly believing everything I said was wrapped up in the, we've faked. I look at Giorgio for a long moment, trying to decide whether I should be alarmed that he knows that phrase, or whether it's the first way you'd phrase it if you were throwing words together to describe the idea. Yes, I hesitate to say. It's not. He doesn't seem to either notice or care about my reaction. What are you asking me, Giorgio? I'm under the impression that you're some kind of wizard, Robert. Now his eyes meet mine. There's no accusation there, just dumb fact. Well, all right, fine, right, that's what I'm talking about. Work with me a little here. If I were doing this right, if I really were a wizard, a magi, let's say magi, I don't prefer wizard. If I were really trying to teach you in a systematic way, why would you be doing that? I don't know, I say, because I'm trying to start my own competing scaleo. Would I do something that stupid? Would anyone? I light another moog. I'm actually not sure how many I'm carrying anymore, nor how many I've smoked so far. I'll find out when I run out. Do you not trust Genova, Robert? You are perhaps her greatest son, certainly her wisest. She has no reason to betray you. To do so would be to cut off her own nose to spite her face. That is a phrase you should take more care and be more respectful before using. I chide him. He frowns, and I'm left now to wonder whether the nuns who did just that thing, in a vain attempt to protect themselves from the raping pricks of pillaging Vikings, had actually done it yet, and whether the story is commonplace yet. I am not the son of Genova, I say, although you, certainly, have adopted me as your brother. I am not born of this place. As soon as anything goes wrong, an attack from the Saracens, from the Magyars, even instability within the kingdom of Italy next door, and I will be the first one to be blamed. They will say that Berengar was unthroned and whoever replaces him invaded Genova because I invited him. You? Why you? Would you do such a thing? Of course I wouldn't. This city has been good to me, and as I keep saying, I would prefer to remain irrelevant and invisible. They will say that I have upset God because of my way of life or something such. He chuckles. Invisible! For someone who prefers to remain irrelevant, you make yourself an easy target. Actually, would you like to talk about that? I cast him another glance. It should read clearly, no. My way of life. Ask your questions. I breathe. People, myself included, do not understand why you do not sleep with your wife. Why do you spend all of your time in your office? Do you not love her? Am I supposed to love her? I ask. I hadn't meant to ask that. Neither of us is appalled, but we take a moment of looking at one another to evaluate whether we should be. I do not suppose that you must, but you do think that a foreign eccentric, especially one who has managed to acquire the kind of earnings that I have, in a merchant republic, sort of, would marry for love? I ask, unoffended. When you put it like that, I've read that story. I do not spit this. My mouth is too dry. It's not for me, because you do not trust women. I told you that. I laugh. I'm joking. He's not. Everyone knows of your distaste for women, Robert. This takes me like a gloved palm to the cheek. Are you serious? Do I look like I'm joking? I wish you would. I wish you did. I don't hate women. I want to exclaim this, too, but I'm already well aware I can't prove a negative. I would say I love women, but that's trying too hard. No matter what I say, you won't believe me, so I'll just say the truth. I appreciate women for what they are. And what is that, Robert? Everyone in Genoa knows that how you spend your coin as freely on prostitutes as you do on wine, and really everyone else. Everything else? I know you're just talking to them. But about what? Even I do not know and do not venture to guess. I roll my eyes. I don't and didn't spend that much of my time with prostitutes. It's not like there are that many. Fine, sure, but you visit every traveling woman who stops by the tavern. This almost stops my feet in their tracks. Does he know about the woman? Is this another hint I'm not recognizing? Chapter 16. You still with me, Rachie? Yeah, it's my pleasure, Mia. It's my work. What does self-given mean in this situation, Mia? Well, it's a phrase you use, so you don't have to justify it by opinion. Well, no, I don't have to. If I didn't, it wouldn't get done. Nobody else is going to read my work. You know? No, I don't have to do anything from a certain perspective, but I do feel compelled to do many things that are outside my actual skill set to accomplish. It's only outside? What does that mean? My skill set is I'm not interested? What is my skill set? What does that mean? I can figure out typos. I'm not worried about typos. I'm trying to figure out what you mean though. What do you mean my skill set is I'm not interested? Don't worry about auto. Just try to be articulate for me. Hmm. Yeah, me, for sure. You've clearly been watching for a while. You and me both, Mia. I go live like this because it's convenient. Mm. Well, thank you. Reading is how I like to spend my time, but it is tiresome, actually. Thank you for the compliment. I actually don't know where my mic is anymore. There it is. Oh, yeah, this is live for sure. I appreciate that. It's very nice of you, Mia. I should check out. Uh, I'm just not interested in working for other people, Mia. I also live in a tent and don't have access to a studio. I hear you, right? Seem to have a talent, seem to have a skill set. The the apparent easy or obvious route is to get paid for it. Right. And so what I'm not going to do, Mia, it being whom I know or divine, what I'm not going to do is audition for roles that I don't know I'm going to get because I just really don't have any interest in. I just don't. I really have no interest whatsoever in continuing to enrich already rich people. My future, the future that I was born to, was taken from me by already rich people. My youth was taken from me by already rich people. They don't they don't need my talent as well. Well, what do you think I'm doing, Mia? What do you, like, actually, what do you think I'm doing? Like, actually, what do you think I'm doing? I'm curious. But what am I reading? And what does reading mean? Do you think I'm reading for pleasure? Do you think I'm, no, I mean, what I'm doing right now. Do you think I'm reading for pleasure? No, I'm asking what what you postulate, what you think is happening. I didn't ask what you know is happening. I'm trying to figure out how many levels of abstraction you process at any given moment. Whether you process the apparent, or whether you need help processing what's obvious as well. Mia, you are an example of everything that is wrong with modernity. You are what is wrong about the world. The question, why do you think I'm reading, does not require you to know anything. Besides, why people might read. Your dumbass thinks that I'm reading something that I wrote for pleasure or to soothe you. Give a fuck about soothing you? Did you listen to any of those words? Rob is going through an existential crisis and you want to be soothed? Go fuck yourself, man. Thank you, Rachie. I can continue. I still have the energy for it. I thought Rachie was asleep, so I was gonna stop. But I still have the energy, and this chapter is not done yet. This chapter is only just starting to get good, actually. The part that I show up for is just about to begin. So if you're here for more of that, we can continue, or I can end this and we can start up Spoopy Wing. I'm not reading this to soothe. I'm not really reading this for praise. I am reading this because I wrote it and I deserve to make an income from it. Yeah, we will continue tomorrow. No, maybe not tomorrow. Tomorrow's got football. I might be able to sneak away between the 4 o'clock and the 8 o'clock games sometime around 6. We can do this around 6. Again tomorrow. But if you're sleepy, go to bed. But likes on this are just insulting. Likes are insulting on this work. Just putting a like on it is insulting. So like it or don't like it. But what do you mean it's insulting? What's insulting? Saying that a like on this kind of work is insulting? That just liking it is insulting? I don't understand what you mean, Rach. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You are very sleepy. Yeah, I mean there are 16 likes there, but there aren't 16 people that watched it from beginning to end. And there aren't 16 people watching. The like 3.5 hours. The like doesn't say we're going to watch this and we actually are enjoying ourselves. It's all good. I wasn't really talking to you. I was kind of talking to Gina's. Make sure you like the video. It's like, I don't care if you like these. Just a like is insulting. Just a thank you is insulting. Even no, not you. You don't have anything to be sorry for. I am owed hospitality. I'm not going to receive reciprocation. I'm not going to receive the like. The like says, we're not going to engage this, but you're doing something. Good for you. For sure. Yeah, it's sleep time, Rach. Hello, Jocelyn. Good night, sweetheart. Sleep well. All right, well, that's the show. Thanks for being here.